I mean, they tell you that the windmill is going to be a surprise, who she sleeps with. They tell you the fence jump is going to be a surprise. But I swear to God, Bekah.
Bring her home to us?
BarbraGate shook me to the core. It was Madi. Like, there was no question in our minds that Barbara was talking about Madi. Could you believe?
I couldn't. I was in such disbelief. I was scream laughing through this whole episode.
Oh, I could not literally handle this episode. It was too much. And you know that it's a good damn episode when there are like no Chris Harrison breaks, barely.
Oh, I know. Also, it's a good episode when my mother, who hasn't watched any of this season, is watching the episode with me and is making me pause and being like, rewind, watch that subtle head movement. This is what this means. And is like trying to decipher everything with me.
It was the same thing with Evan. He hasn't watched a single episode this season. And he popped in when Barbara was just like, bring her home. Like, he happened to walk in and he was like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, I don't have time to pause and tell you. I'm in the heat of it, man.
That shit was crazy.
Oh my God.
It was so good.
I have so many feelings about it. Also, again, you think about I think the last 2-night finale that we had was with the fence jump, and the amount of fluff that they included was insane, right? It was so much extra. I mean, they had that one fucking band play. Remember?
Oh my God.
Air Supply. Like, it was so random. There was Ben shows up, Jason shows up.
The fact that there are only 2-hour episodes for one is really surprising to me. That tonight is going to be another 2-hour episode, because they're going to have so much footage of like shit that's going on like once they're back home. And then they're going to have so much footage of like what's going on now, like the live portion. It's going to be crazy.
I don't know how they're all going to include it in 2 hours.
I don't know either.
I'm almost like,
and also the rose ceremony whole fiasco. There's so much.
I have no idea. Like, there's this part of me, and I never want a longer episode because I like them shorter. But I almost am like, I need a 3-hour episode to figure out what's going on. I need to see behind the scenes too. I need a live camera on Barb as this entire thing is happening, whatever actually happens.
I was surprised by virtually everything this episode.
Same.
Like, the way every single thing played out with Madi, Hannah Ann, his family, like everything was surprising to me.
The only thing that didn't surprise me is his, deep, deep passion for Madison.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that I was like, I saw this coming after last week.
But that was even surprising, like how things went down when she left.
Oh, yeah.
So because it was like his passion, and then like it was actually really anticlimactic when she was like, I'm going to go.
Yo, every one of Peter's exits is anticlimactic.
That's true.
He's super.
That's so
he's
true.
So just like, I love you, I love you, I love you, and it's like, okay, bye. Wait, what? Even though they did hold each other for a very long time.
Sure.
And that was like, made me feel a little sick to my stomach, because that feeling when you're saying goodbye to somebody and you don't want to, and oh my God, it's the worst.
And I'm just really conflicted. Okay, we'll just have to get into the episode.
Yeah, okay.
Let's just go.
Okay, I'm just trying to think. Is there any housekeeping? One quick note. Claire, that Claire drama's coming up. That one girl posted that tweet. Everyone's talking about it, about the babysitter. And then at the end, she was like, hi, bitch, which, by the way, that sent me that last part. But
well, I'm like, how old is this girl, first of all?
Listen, I feel like everyone was a little too quick to repost it. Now, I know obviously we went off on like Victoria F, but the Victoria F thing was after literally hundreds.
Oh, wait, you're talking about her breaking up marriages?
Yes. But what I'm saying is I saw people being like, well, we came after Victoria F and we're going to give Claire a pass. It's like, okay, listen, Reality Steve was sent
like the
hundreds.
Whole city. The whole city Victoria F's
thing. The whole city showed up at their date.
Where's this girl's parents? I want to talk to her about this babysitting situation, because a toddler's recollection of the situation.
Yeah, now,
also, if she's 20, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to give Claire that much of a pass, but if she's 20, this is like, or 20 something, that means it's like 20 something years ago, and Claire was 19.
I feel bad now, because I think there are great parts to social media, but also, who knows, maybe this shit is true. I can't speak out of turn.
Maybe it is.
But like, this is the type of stuff where it's like, now all of a sudden.
Wait, what did she say? Let's just clarify for people who didn't see it.
So someone tweeted out basically saying, I don't have the exact tweet on me, but basically saying,
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Basically saying that Claire she's like, oh, your new bachelorette like kept me locked in like the closet and stuff. And like,
okay, fun fact, here we go. Our next bachelorette was my babysitter when I was a toddler, and she locked me in my room the entire night and didn't let me out, even when I was screaming, crying, and peed myself. Hard to forget when it was my first memory. Hi, bitch. I mean, I have a lot to say about this as a babysitter or as a nanny, because if you isolate, like, I don't know. I'm like, was it her babysitter one time? Also, did the parents say she's going to cry when she goes to bed? And then there's so many layers of like the possible situation, and like one tweet. And listen, sorry, I'm not going to cancel Claire for it. This
might be the beginning of like another Victoria F situation where reality Steve's like, I've received
all these babysitting people. All these former babysat by Claire people come forward.
So who knows? But as of right now, we are not canceling Claire because it was like 1 or 2 tweets, and let's see moving forward. But you know, again, at this point, I don't know.
I'm just saying I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt.
I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt.
I'm not saying that I want to dismiss this experience. No. I just need to know more details. I need to talk to her parents.
That's the thing. We need more details.
And also, was this like 25 years ago?
Before we jump down Claire's throat, let's figure out what's actually going on. So that was it. And then the only other thing is apparently the ABC cut like half of Claire's original guys and put in some daddies.
Yes, I know, because last time I said that Reality Steve already said they already cast everything, but looks like they are revamping the cast.
Yes, which means that the half of Claire's cast that are younger, they're all stoked because they know for sure they're going to paradise, whatever happens.
True.
They're just like, sweet, it's an easy in.
But also generally, I think they're sort of casting for one, maybe 2 possible bachelorettes, but now like they're casting these guys just for Claire.
Yes,
the ones that they're recasting, so that's fun.
It is fun.
Also, just scheduling wise, the recap of tonight, aka Tuesday's finale episode, will be out
Thursday morning.
Yes, I couldn't remember when that was going to be.
So sorry for the delay, but listen, the 2 live episodes this week.
It's hectic.
It's a little hectic.
It's also my class finals.
Yeah.
So Bekah, there's a lot going on.
Honestly, Bekah's just like slaying it in general by even doing this.
We're also trying to do a lot of press this week. Jess and I are, because we are going to be launching starting next week into our recaps of Love is Blind.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Also, by the way, Jess, I'm just laying down the law and saying this has to happen. My parents have already watched the whole season, and they're going to come on and recap an episode with us. They have to. I have to make them, because my mom was like, she's like, call me the minute you finish this series. She's like, I have so much to say about it. And I was like, well, you guys have to come recap it.
Oh, please.
At least I just want an episode.
Oh my God, that would be so fun.
Because apparently it's the show everyone's talking about. It's like
the number 1 show on Netflix. Also, the good news is it really looks like we're going to be able to have
guests
from Love is Blind on. Netflix does not hate us. They have not banned us. So this is exciting.
And we haven't watched the show at all. So if you have any people that you want to hear from, email or DM us.
Yes.
So that
and then also on that note, when we were talking about the Juan Pablo recap, so many of you, thank you so much for sending us a specific
the free site.
But here's the thing. Bekah and I are concerned because what happens is when enough people, I've watched this happen on other podcasts, when enough people at once rush to a free site and we vocalize it, sometimes those sites get shut down. And if we're the reason that thousands of people can't watch Bachelor, I'll feel horrible.
Also, it seems like we just don't have time before other seasons of shit are coming out. So looks like we're gonna stick with Love is Blind.
Yeah. And you know what? Of course, what we'll do before the season starts, Claire's season starts, of course, we will have an episode fully dedicated to Claire research.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We will, look into
Babysitting Gate.
Yeah, Babysitting Gate. We will look into some hot Claire moments that happened during Paradise, during her season. We'll cover that. So we'll make sure that we get in, the meat before the season actually starts. But
yeah.
On that note,
let's go.
Should we get into this?
Yeah.
Oh, and 5 stars if you've enjoyed this season with us.
Smash those 5 stars for if you're Team Barb or Team Madi.
I like that it's not Team Hannah Ann or Team Madi, it's Team Barb or Team Madi. Because
that
honestly,
was where the real feud happened.
That's where the real feud is at. And I have some thoughts if he ends up going with Madi and she has watched Barb do this on national television. Holy shit. The stress.
Okay, I'm saving it. We're going.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
All right.
Okay, so before we get into this insanity, I need to say this. At this point, being a mom to a very spirited 4-year-old, a wife, and, we business owners, it's safe to say that I am about 85% coffee on the inside, which does wonders for my energy levels, but wreaks havoc on the color of my teeth. To top it off, I have the most sensitive teeth ever. It's terrible. So traditional products for whitening are totally out of the question because they're really painful for me to use. Then the other day, I discovered High Smile Teeth Whitening System. And I have to admit, I was both intrigued and skeptical. I had to try it for myself. And let me just say, I was super surprised at the results.
So I was actually the same way. I got sent my High Smile, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I was skeptical and I was worried that my teeth were going to feel sensitive afterwards. They always feel like someone's putting little ice picks into each one of my teeth. But that didn't happen at all. And the best part is it only takes 10 minutes a day for the 6-day treatment cycle. So, throw mine on while I watch The Bachelor, obviously, and the whole thing's finished before the first commercial break. It's so easy.
The proof really is in the results. My teeth are like glowing white. In the YouTube. Hello. I almost can't believe how good they look. You would never know that I drink my body weight in coffee weekly. But seriously, if you do have 10 minutes a day to spare, there is no reason not to try High Smile. You will not regret it. And hey, any of our broads thinking about going on an upcoming season of The Bachelor, you can take High Smile with you anywhere. It's so small and convenient and wonderful. And you'll be in the company of the likes of, I don't know, Kimmy K, Kylie Jenner. The list of A-list celebrities that use High Smile goes on for eternity because it really does work.
High Smile offers a 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't see at least 2 shades of whiter teeth after using their kit. So it's risk-free. But I doubt you'll have that problem, broads. And for all of our Chatty Broads listeners, High Smile is offering 20% off site-wide for a limited time only. Simply visit order.highsmileteeth.com/Chatty Broads to shop their range of products and enter the code Chatty at checkout for 20% off. So that's order.highsmileteeth.com/Chatty Broads, promo code Chatty for 20% off your order. Also, that's high like H-I.
Yes.
Smile.
Also, broads, we always have all of these in our episode notes. We have the codes. So
yes,
if you always miss them, you can go back and look. Also, something I didn't realize about starting our business, speaking of our business, is how much freaking time I would spend at the post office. And no hate on the post office at all, but it's not the most fun errand to run, especially 5 times a week, which is legitimately how many times I found myself there. And in the current climate today with the diseases, I really don't want to be there anyways, okay? Which, by the way, some of us don't have mailboxes outside of our own home, so I was constantly there even before Chatty Broads started, until I started using Stamps.com.
Stamps.com makes life a little more convenient because it brings all the services of the Postal Service right to your computer. It's perfect for official business like taxes and contracts, but also less official business like getting postage to mail back, online shopping, impulse buys, so you actually return them on time. Either way, it's a huge time saver for me. Whenever I sell stuff on Depop, I ship it all through Stamps.
Oh yeah, and like you were saying too, with the online shopping, you won't be wasting all that money because Lord knows how much money I've wasted when I don't return those online purchases.
I'm
because
just like, well, there goes $120.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. But not with Stamps.com now. Not only are you going to save time, which honestly is already a win in my book, but with Stamps.com, you get 5 cents off every first class stamp and 40% off shipping rates, which that's crazy. No wonder 70,000 small businesses already use Stamps.com. And because it's so easy, all you need is a computer and you can print official U.S. postage anytime you need it, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, baby. So convenient, so easy. So why aren't you using it yet, broads? It changes the game.
So right now, our listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitment. I used this code and offer for myself, and I got my scale and I got my 4-week trial. Seriously, just go to Stamps.
You literally texted me and said, what's our code?
Yeah, I was like, what's our code for Stamps? Getting it now. Just go to stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, type in Chatty to redeem your offer. That's stamps.com, enter Chatty, redeem your offer, get the free digital scale.
All right, let's do this.
Okay.
So I do want to say that I think Peter is maybe the first Bachelor in history that I could have seen actually asking for both their hands in marriage and being like, let's see how this works. Can I get engaged to both of you?
My mom said the same thing. He was like, she was like, he is looking for a sister wives situation.
Truly is. He truly is.
And yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, the Chris Harrison breaks really, nothing happened except him continuing to say, you think this is a lot? Wait what happens in 5 seconds. That was just what kept happening every 10 minutes. That was really it.
So starts out pretty much just with Peter. Like,
it's just with Peter.
He's walking in looking good in pink. Stylist is getting crazy.
I mean, and I was like, this is an awfully big decision for someone who's wearing shorts.
It's true.
I was like, Peter, you got some serious stuff going on and you are into shorts.
So he's starting off seeing his fam.
Yeah,
his mom's hands are shaking.
No, she was actually shaking. Bud.
The most theatrical. Also, Barbara was looking snatched. I don't know if someone got a little Botox for her debut. I mean, listen, I respect, I support. You know, I would get fully injected before my big premiere. But I was like, okay, Barb, something. She came out and didn't she have the tube top on?
You got the tube She's top. Like, your face is looking tight.
She's like, we're in Australia, sweetie.
Or as Peter liked to call it, a different planet, which was so mysterious to him. The intro, he's like, it feels like a different planet.
Well, he's like, and it's so romantic, and then there's all these bugs eating each other and stuff.
Oh, they were getting eaten alive by flies during many scenes.
Well, no, I mean, like, they had this thing about, like, love is this and love is that, and then it's just, like, lizards attacking things, just and going crazy.
Yeah, literally every piece of wildlife that was on Australian turf, even though I was thinking the entire time, was this when the fires were happening?
I think they just literally started, I think, in November, which is when they would have been filming.
Turns out it was ABC's fault.
Yeah. the candlelit picnics and dinners went a little too far. Shit. His dad, when he sits down, by the way, Peter says something about, like, I need to tell you guys about this, whatever. And his dad's like, tell us.
Oh, I know. Peter Sr., who we will call Jim this entire episode because I just can't call him Peter Sr. It's also confusing. Yeah, I'm going to work. His name is Jim. His name's Jim. We've renamed him. No, Jim, like, okay. Jim,
I like him.
I love Jim. I'm a huge fan of Jim. Also, I do love that he lives for the tea, but he also is like way more low key, you know.
Oh, but you also see that little shit stirring side of him come out. That's where Peter Jr. got it from.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my.
Yes. So immediately mama cares about who said I love you first. Like, these are the reasons. It's very obvious. This is the reason why Peter is the way he is.
Yep.
We see this throughout the entire episode. Yep. And right away she just wants to know who said I love you first, which to me is like, if I was a parent, I'm going, I don't care who said I love you first.
No, especially on a show like this.
Do you know how easy it is? Bekah, I'm in love with you. I want to marry you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all that I have to say.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Not impressive.
That's what I need to know.
Not impressive. But she's all about these displays, you know, these dramatic displays.
Yes.
Clearly. Well, it was crazy that I was reminded that Madison was the first one-on-one.
Yes.
And it's interesting because you didn't really see it come out during Maddie's one-on-one with the family, the fact that they have already met before.
No, you couldn't tell at all. You really couldn't tell at all. It seemed like they had known Hannah Ann, or in the words of Barb, I feel like I've known you my entire life, Hannah Ann.
And she got the first impression rose. So I was like, wow, these really are the two, like, really OG girls.
And maybe that's when Peter was getting interviewed about, like, I knew who it was the whole time. Maybe that was more in reference to his top two, because those were his top, like, I mean, those were really his top two from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's actually true. I didn't think about that.
Because he couldn't reveal, and who he, if Peter...
So we're talking about in one of his interviews, he said, I knew I was in love with her. I thought he said her, though. He was saying basically like I knew for weeks that I was in love.
But also, we don't even know, like Chris Harrison's saying, Peter doesn't even know how this thing's wrapping up. So Peter continuing to say, I'm so happy right now. I've known. I'm like, I think maybe you're just referring to both of the women.
Are you just bullshitting all of us?
Who you keep saying that you're in love with both of them.
Yeah, totally.
I, by the way, was literally shaking when Peter just comes right out the gate and is like, let me tell you all about Madi and my problems.
Oh my, I know.
Like, whoa.
Also, it was interesting because the way that he told it, it was obvious that it was editing, making it look like Madison left on the dinner date. I don't know if you caught that, but as he's laying out their situation, he tells his parents, we chatted at dinner and then we just parted ways at the end of dinner.
That was editing?
Well, obviously, because he was telling his parents, like, and then at the end of dinner, we just decided to go our separate ways. And he basically said it was like this mutual thing of like, it's the end of the night and we're going. But so I think editing made it look like she was leaving and like, is she gonna show up at the rose ceremony? But it kind of sounds like Peter didn't think she left.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No. I totally get what you're saying. Even though the next day then he was, and again, I guess that could have been editing. The next day he seemed really like, is she coming?
Well, yeah, true.
But maybe it was more like she wasn't showing up and he was shocked because producers were like, she's not here, man.
Right. And he's
only
like, the two
I
of
thought
them
that
there.
we just mutually separated. Like, yeah. So, definitely an interesting point.
I thought that was interesting. And parents, they were not impressed with the fact that she waited. They immediately were like, well, she waited to tell you?
Well, even when Peter was telling the story about Madi and saying, she then told me that she, didn't want me to be intimate with anyone else in the fantasy suites because she is saving herself for marriage. Barb's face, she is not pleased. Barb is like, my baby boy loves his sex and I know that this is what he needs and you are withholding this from him. This is not good, my girlfriend.
She's like, my favorite thing is to make fresh squeezed OJ and scrambled eggs for his hookups in the morning after he goes out line dancing and brings someone home on Saturday night.
By the way, Peter still lives at home.
Yeah.
Which I found out like officially the other day. And how has this not been talked about more?
No, I remember talking about it.
Really?
Yeah, because it was this thing of like, I still live with my parents because I'm traveling all the time and it just doesn't make sense for me to have my own place.
I just feel like if it would be a different Bachelor, let's just say Colton still lived at home. They would have gone so hard on Colton.
Yeah, but
it would have been like, he's a virgin and he still lives at home.
But he's also an ex-football player? Peter has like a full-blown career.
Yes, and I believe that, but he also seems...
No wonder he can afford that car.
Like,
he's like, I'm not paying rent.
That's right,
I'm not paying a mortgage.
I'm like, damn, nice
I'm
car.
Ballin'.
Nice wheels because you're not paying rent.
Let's check out that savings account.
But like, that does mean that, the level of closeness with his family, that as a 28-year-old man, he is living at home. I don't care. Here's the thing. I'll use my husband, for example. Sure. If Evan and I weren't married and he was literally traveling 350 days out of the year, he would still have his probably, even if it was like the tiniest little shithole of a spot, or he'd stay with a friend or something. But his family, he wouldn't, which I think it's lovely that they're close. But it's also like, oh my God, whatever woman ends up in this, he lives at home. Mm-hmm. So like, they better like her.
I'm sure they're going to get their own place in ASAP.
We don't know.
But that's so true. Oh my God. But oh my God. Oh my God. You're right. Because if he ends up with Madison, they're obviously not going to move in together.
Yes.
But also Madison most likely won't be spending the night. So then also they can just avoid the home altogether.
That's true. But she will be at their house all the time.
Right. Because like, let's go back and hang at my place and watch a movie.
Watch a show. Barb's there. Jim's there. Jack is there.
This also begs a question that we haven't that they haven't covered yet, which is, does she want to move to LA or is he going to move to Alabama?
Another very important piece of this puzzle, which we haven't been given any insight into.
Because they're both super close with their family, so I'm interested in where they would stand on that.
And with Hannah Ann being like the Revolve model, we know
she already's moving to LA.
She already she's found her spot. You know, they're holding it for her. You know,
no, she actually has moved here.
Oh, she has officially.
Like she's in the process.
Okay, well, yes, and we all knew that was going to happen.
Of course,
especially because she's already friends with Hannah
G's like girlfriend. I got an apartment with your name on it.
She immediately has she has touch points in Los Angeles, so that's fine. This is all good to go. Now, Madi does not seem like she would want to leave her family.
Okay, we got to keep going so that we can cover this. But right. so the parents were not impressed about any of this,
and they're upset, like you said, that she withheld that. They're not fans of that. They're concerned. And you know, through it, of course, Jack has to be like, "Hey, bud, did they like the scar?" Through this really serious conversation,
Jack actually won the night for me.
Jack won hands down.
Jack is so savage.
Honestly,
can we get him on Paradise?
Honestly, Jack for Bachelor. Like, they made a mistake and Jack should have been Bachelor.
Can we get him on Paradise though? Because I think he needs to go after Hannah Ann if things don't work out.
Oh, I like this.
They both look about 14.
Yes. Oh my God. And you know that the Webbers like to keep it in the family. Yeah. Peter would probably be like, I get it, man. I loved her. I get it. I love her too.
Can you fucking imagine if he was with Madison and oh my God, I can't. Anyway, so he goes, "You're meeting Hannah Ann today." And before even describing Hannah Ann, his mother's reaction, she goes, "Wow." This is before he started describing her. He goes, "You're meeting Hannah Ann." She goes, "Wow."
Which makes me think, and we rewind the tape. When Madi first met Barb and Jim, do you remember us talking about the fact her and Barb's interaction was a little strange? Like, Barb was super well, let me tell you, honey. And she wasn't as warm as I thought she was going to be.
Yes, I do remember that.
I wonder if she just doesn't really like her. Like, if she doesn't like her energy at all. Because when he was like, "Yeah, Madi," she was like, "Yeah, great." And then, like you said, he goes, "Hannah Ann." Oh my, tell us about Hannah Ann.
I also wonder, do you think she's snooping around Reality Steve trying to find out who these girls are?
Oh, 100%.
And so she knows what Hannah Ann looks like, I'm sure, knows about that was in pageants, that she's probably scoped out her Instagram at this point.
No, there's nothing that she could have found that was wrong with Madi, at least that any of us are aware of. No, but I'm saying
Hannah Ann, she's like, this is my kind of girl.
Yeah, she vibes on Hannah Ann.
Well, she also could have scoped out their Instagrams.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they would have been private at that point while they're filming. Okay, anyway. Regardless.
I'm sure Barb has some intel at ABC and she forced.
Oh, I'm sure. So, and then his mom's face as he's describing her, she's just like,
what? Hannah Ann?
How are we so
Hannah
honored
is the
for
perfect combination of pure innocence that combines with all that confidence. And Jim's like, "She sounds like you, bud. Sounds like you." What is going on? What is happening? The idea of sitting with my mom and dad and them acting this way, I can't even wrap my brain around it. I just can't even. This is so far from anything that I can recognize in my family. I don't even know how to handle it, and I am tickled.
It's funny though, because then you see the other side of it obviously come out later, and I'm like, okay, this is much more of a real family than you guys than I thought you were before. Because at first I was like, this is exactly that sounds like you, so pure, innocent, and whatever.
Well, this level of intimacy is going to have to come with some pretty intense arguments. This close-knit family, there's got to be a lot of ups and downs.
So Hannah Ann shows up.
Hannah Ann is crying from the get-go. We did not see Hannah Ann shed a tear until officially last week, the week before. Peter was like, "I need you to see the emotions." And it clearly looks like, I saw people talking about how she's putting it on for the camera,
really?
Blah, blah, blah.
People were saying that?
Oh, coming for her hard in that way. Now, that was last week.
Oh, okay.
With the tears.
Okay, sure.
But I have to be real. I just feel like we saw a certain side of her for numerous weeks, and she was so composed always. And then when Peter finally was like, "Open up, let your guard down," and like you said, after she met his family, it was almost
after he met her family.
Yeah, excuse me. It was like that relief swept over her. I think she genuinely is super into him. Now, I also think she's competitive.
Yes.
And so there's a level of when she's continuing to say throughout this episode, I just want you to know that I support you and I want your family to know that I love you. I don't care if they don't even like me. Smart moves.
Right. I think, though, that also she's overwhelmed by the fact that, like, I don't think she said she was never felt in love with her last boyfriend. I think she's like overwhelmed by the fact that she feels like she's in love with him.
Yep.
And I don't think she's putting it on this. I didn't think she was putting it on this week at all. I really didn't catch that vibe.
I don't think she is either, but I just feel like America, even when you look at the numbers, people, Hannah Ann is like at 750 and Madi is at 1.3 million. And the truth of the matter is, I think we saw more of Hannah Ann during the season than Madi in general.
Yeah, actually, you might be right. I know people really are. Well, I mean, I understand too. Hannah Ann's not particularly relatable, like on screen in any way, you know? Yeah. And she's sort of come off as maybe a little more two-dimensional.
Yeah.
But I really think that a lot of the thing with Madi just has to, and I'm not saying this, I'm just saying this objectively. I think like Christian America,
sure, and
the Christian demographic of the Bachelor is really into Madi.
True.
And like, I'm people just saying that objectively, not as any
Luke
kind of...
P put his support out there for Madi. I don't know if we all saw this.
He endorsed her.
And I was like, I don't think she probably wanted that bud, but like, I don't know.
Oh no, you're catching the bud too.
I know.
Oh boy.
I called Evan bud 12 times this morning.
So they ask, when did you realize there were feelings to Hannah Ann? God. And she goes, the very first night we met. She's tearing up talking about him. And
when she walked in the room and hugged all of them, her first interaction with Barb sees Hannah Ann watery-eyed, and I'm like, Barb has such a boner right now. Like, Barb is this, she has a love boner for Hannah Ann. It's everything.
Well, and she also, her words were so like just perfect what they wanted to hear. I think without her even knowing it, when she said, I'm proud to be a part of him, like, I'm proud. I mean, wow. Nailed it.
It's like she took like a whole semester in studies on the Webbers. It was literally like, it was grade A perfection what the Webbers want to hear about their son.
This is part of why I'm constantly impressed by Hannah Ann, because it almost seems like she knows what's going on in the times when she's not around. Like her conversations always directly contrast to Madi's in these very interesting, like, parallel ways. Like it's really bizarre.
I think Hannah Ann is our, like, I mean, and we suspected this from the beginning, hence us assuming she had a body buried in her backyard, but there's something about her. She's sharp.
She's kind of psychic. Maybe she was a Disney character. It was like a That's So Raven situation. I don't know, but she's it's just while Peter's with Maddie's just like, she's in her room. The producers are like, are you locked in the bathroom, just concentrating super hard.
Finger on the temple.
I'm also like, but I don't think so. I was thinking, like, are the producers feeding her information about what's going on? I think she's pretty perceptive.
Well, even when she was sitting with Peter later after Madi leaves and she's like, something's off. And I have to be real with you. I wasn't getting that energy from Peter. I felt like he was pretty there. And
granted, the energy, could be off in the room.
No, for sure. But also, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like she's probably maybe one of those people that just really picks up on energy.
It seems like it.
Because she always does. And again, she was never one, when the drama was getting heightened, she'd pull back. You could see her throughout this whole thing pulling back when she would need to, and then stepping forward when she would need to. I think she's
pretty intuitive and pretty like, yeah.
I think so too. And I think because she's not super emotional, we maybe haven't picked up on that, like how intuitive she is.
Yeah, and I think she's also maybe not super like left brain in that she's like, I don't think she necessarily like is super intellectual, but I think she's she seems to be able to pick up on vibes and feelings and
Hannah Ann,
pretty well.
You surprise me weekly. I mean, especially these past few weeks, I don't even know what to say.
I know. So he clings to her, pulls the move like he did with Madison on that boat.
He's literally like making out with her shoulder.
My mom was like, why is he doing that in front of his parents? What is this? This is so weird.
Awkward. Well, they're going to have to get used to seeing something like that. I mean, I'm sure every time he brings a girl home, they see it.
Jesus Christ. And then, so they're talking or whatever. And then, of course, Barb drops, I see you and me to Jim.
And you know Hannah Ann is just like soaring. Can you imagine getting that compliment from Barb?
Can you imagine getting that compliment from anyone's mom and dad where they look at their husband with love in their eyes and go, it's like, I see you and me in them. It's like, wow, talk about an endorsement.
Oh, also when
you can
Peter,
do no wrong.
Totally. Also when Peter's making out with her shoulder and then like clinging to her like a koala, Jim at one point under his breath goes, look at that.
I know.
That was my most favorite part of the whole interaction. Well, once you look at that.
I forgot.
And he's got the hand on the like this.
Isn't that right before Barb goes, I see you and me? He goes, look at that. And she goes, I see you and me.
Yep.
Oh,
it was everything.
My God.
It was everything.
So Mama Bear sits down with Hannah.
Yes, and we hear Barb, she knows her son. She says, I'm concerned because Peter falls so hard. Like, so it's not like, Barbara knows. She's aware of her, of Peter's things.
Well, and talk about editing energy, because the part where she says, I don't want you to change each other could not have been more taken out of context in the teaser. She's just, yeah.
The editing did us so dirty. Honestly, this season... props to the editors of this show, because they had us going. We did not know what was going to happen.
Going in all different directions. She says, I want to see pure happiness in his life. I want you two to grow together. I don't want you two to change each other.
Mm-hmm. And Hannah Ann also throws in, smart girl. She throws in that it's been the hardest process because she hasn't exactly gotten it in return.
Ooh.
She throws that little arrow because she knows she's connecting with Barb. Ooh. And it's like, your son, I love him so much, and I haven't necessarily gotten it back, but it doesn't even matter to me. Oof. And that seed is planted in Barb's head. Oof. Smart girl.
She's killing it with the tears. Again, like, I'm not saying it killing it like she's putting it on. It's just everything's flowing. Couldn't be going better.
She's holding,
could not be going better.
Her and Barb are holding hands. They are lovers. Like, it is the connection. It's like,
I know.
Barb is like, Barb has created a fantasy that Hannah Ann is young Barb. And she looks at Hannah Ann and she's like, I'm looking at myself however many years ago. Also, if you see old pictures of Barb, they look pretty similar to each other. Yeah.
Also, Hannah Ann's dress, of course, as just the perfect amount of sexy and sweet to meet a family. Like, you're going to charm the dad. Mom's not going to be thinking you're too immodest. Everything's looking
perfect. And also like flowery and summery, bright.
I know.
Cheery. I mean, it was the perfect first meeting of a family.
If I could give it an Olympic score, it would just be a perfect 10.
Perfect 10.
10.
I don't think we've ever seen a family meeting go that seamlessly and have them be like, oh my God, we love her so much.
Hannah's with Tyler went pretty well. Not quite so over the top gushy, but but no, you're right. The Hannah Ann was just like, It was they were ready to adopt her.
Because even with Peter's family with Hannah Brown, like that went really well.
Yeah.
But Hannah Brown was not like Hannah Ann is like, I am in love with every part of him, and she's so verbalizing this so clearly to his parents, and within seconds they're like, it's you and me.
Barb is like, I can feel the love she has for my son.
Oh my God. And then Jim and Hannah Ann are talking. His chain literally gives me everything that I need in my life. I'm in love with him. Like, honestly, I swear to God, Jim, you know what? I wouldn't want to do Barb dirty like that, but like senior show, I want Jim. I want that energy for the lead. Okay. Oh, and then, Hannah Ann's throwing out, Peter has given me the gift of what it's like to love someone.
And she says, knowing this may be our last week together, I know I gave it my all.
When I look at him, I look at my heart. I mean, the lines were fantastic. And I'll be honest with you, after Hannah Ann's list letter to Peter, didn't think the lines were going to be, that lofty. She really did her homework.
And then he goes, you seem like you're extremely compatible.
Everything's going so well.
And like we've said, I agree. I think they're extremely compatible.
I think Hannah Ann and Peter are perfect together.
I think so too.
Now, the problem is that Hannah Ann has not lobbied enough drama to Peter.
The problem is it's not real life. And she is being compared against this other emotional roller coaster of a journey. In real life, if he meets her at the freaking line dancing club or wherever the hell he goes out to on the weekends, it's the done.
They're
signed,
in love,
sealed,
right?
delivered.
Okay.
They're
yes.
married.
Yes.
You know?
But it's because of this. She's not dramatic enough in this situation.
And the scenario is just so high adrenaline, high, like everything, and being compared to something that's completely different. It's throwing him off.
Yeah.
But yeah, both parents are just gushing over her.
Absolutely.
Gushing.
And yeah, I mean, it's so intense. And then Jim and Peter have a conversation. And that's, you know, Jim's just like, she's really into you. And Peter says that any reservation that he may have is because he's into both. And then Jim's just like, yo, give me something, bud. Who are you leaning more towards?
Well, and he says before that there's nothing lacking with Hannah.
Nothing. And he's made that very clear. She's the perfect woman. He said that actually for weeks and weeks.
Bazillion
She's
times.
the perfect woman. But then when he says, who are you leaning towards? He doesn't answer, but he says that he needs more time with Madi. And my brain says, yes, Peter, what you don't understand is the reason you need more time with Madi is because you need to have sex with her.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear.
That's what my mom said too.
Yes. It's like, it's very clear that sexual intimacy is a huge thing for Peter, okay? Also, he probably just wants to have sex with her too, so she's the curiosity. And
do you think he's ever been in a situation with a woman like this who's just hasn't thrown her clothes off within 30 seconds?
No, and I think that his conversation with Jack and Peter's defensiveness makes that pretty obvious.
Yep.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, okay? He does not know what he is in for if he's making a commitment from being this guy who's very clearly his family's making it known he likes to party, he likes to have sex, all of these things. To be like, no, I can just turn it off. Oh my God, I have so many things to say about that.
So I'm not sure. I wrote this in my notes. I'm not sure if this is from the preview or his conversation with his dad, but at some point he says they both have my heart. One's making it easy and the other's making it not easy.
Yeah, he said that I think in a conversation later with him.
Okay.
And he likes not easy. We know this about Peter.
Right.
So when he said that he needs more time with Madi, it's like, okay, it's because you want to have sex with her.
I think also this, like, yes, absolutely. And I think the thing with him and Hannah Ann is I think their love, like Jim and Barb, would blossom with time. Like I see their relationship deepening as they grow a life together.
Yes.
And
Agreed.
And I feel like they will move in the same direction in life.
They would find out different things about each other. Years into it, they'd be like, "Well, I didn't know that you liked to bowl too. Should we join a league together?" Their love takes new heights, soars. Hannah Ann, at the age of 45, decides, "I want to get my pilot's license." He's never been more turned on. Oh my! They do it together. This is
it's a slower burn, and that's why this is an issue in this kind of scenario. That's why the context of this and his relationship with Madi, that's why things are going the way it is, because this isn't the progression of real life. And if it was, Hannah Ann would have it in the bag.
And I will stick by this to my dying day, because Lord knows I'll be talking about this season on my deathbed because it's still going to be haunting me, I'm sure. I think that when we saw Madi and Peter before, up until the fantasy suite date, or up until she confronted him saying, "I don't think I want you to sleep with any of the other women."
Yeah.
They had chemistry for sure, but he wasn't like dying for the Mads. Do you know what I mean? He liked her, and they was always like, "Oh, you know, Madi and I, she's great." And they'd like kiss, but it wasn't that like hot spark that he had with maybe Victoria F, for instance, where he had a lot of passion and emotion.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as she threw the drama at him, now all of a sudden Peter's like, "Oh, I'm in love with her." And you're like, "Oh my God."
And let's be real, in real life too, they'd never cross paths.
Never.
And I'm not even just talking about where they live or anything. I mean, when they're talking about lifestyle, I mean, I just don't think they would ever cross paths. And if they did, she would be turned off by him very quickly.
Yes.
And because who lifestyle. He is and his life and all this stuff would come forward quickly, as it does when you're meeting someone in real life, and she would be like, that's not my husband.
Yep. And we heard a lot this episode about partying Peter, which I'm gonna be real with you. Guess what we've been seeing lately? Peter in Kylie Jenner stories, Stassi stories. Are you? Yes, these girls party. Okay.
Wait, so Peter likes he's hanging out with Tyler.
I don't know. But
wait, are you serious?
Oh yeah, Peter's getting around town. So it's kind of like, okay, Peter enjoys the Hollywood scene. He likes to party, and I just, maybe Maddie does, but I'm gonna doubt it because later on in the episode we see that Peter busts out sparkling apple juice for Milady. He says.
So she doesn't drink.
Doesn't seem like it. They're like, it's just too much that's different.
Two ships crossing in the night.
Yes, it's a Romeo and Juliet type of story.
Okay, well, we got to get into Madison's in a second because, yes. I mean, this is where we're really going to unpack the meat and potatoes.
So, I mean, yeah, this is just, it is what it is. Hannah Ann's date was perfect. It was seamless.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
10,
okay.
10. 10.
10's across the board. 10's across
10.
the board.
Conversation with dad. 10. Conversation with mom. 10.
Outfit choice. 10. PDA. 10. Everything was a 10.
Jack's boner for her at a 10. The whole family is in love with her.
Oh gosh,
and Hannah Ann would fucking move in with his family too, and they'd have their little game room suite set up.
Her and Barb would be making pancakes for the boys in the morning. They'd have matching aprons.
They'd be living about for each their other. Sex lives with the fucking husband and son.
They'd have their song in the morning. They'd have a song that they turn on every morning. What I want, you got. And they'd be spinning with spatulas with pancake mix.
Barb tosses her the apron. She catches it. Tosses Barb they're like spinning knives and stuff, throwing an apple for the fruit salad.
And Peter and older Peter come out in the morning and they're just like, our girls, our girls.
They fist bump as they come out of the bedrooms in their boxers. You make my dreams come true. Oh boy.
Oh god. Well, speaking of 10 out of 10s, let's talk about this next sponsor.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like our days lately, Bekah, have been pretty unpredictable, which is awesome, but doesn't make getting dressed super easy. In the span of 4 hours, we could be in a meeting, chasing our kids around the park. I'd be taking my dog to the vet. You're going to school. We're meeting up with our men's for a quick lunch. How are we supposed to be dressed appropriately for all these activities without packing 3 extra pairs of shoes in our cars? It's crazy. But we have an answer. A cute, comfortable, sleek pair of shoes from ROTHYS.
And not only are ROTHYS shoes and bags super cute, but they are eco-friendly. Sustainability is my thing right now. ROTHYS carefully crafts their products out of eco-friendly materials like repurposed plastic bottles and marine plastic. And to date, they've kept 50 million plastic bottles out of landfills, and they ship directly in the box. No unnecessary packaging at all. Music to my ears. I ordered them. I have them. I love them.
They're fantastic.
They're pretty great.
We both own pairs of ROTHYS shoes, including their best-selling shoe, the Point in Black, which I have, which has 3,000 near perfect reviews. Actually, though, let's just go ahead and call it 3,001 because I concur with the rest of you. They're comfortable. They go with everything. They're eco-friendly and they're machine washable for all you dirty broads out there or parents with children whose shoes are always immediately filthy within 1 hour after purchase. With ROTHYS, you can wash them in the washing machine and they are good as new. Gorgeous. What's not to love?
Check out all the amazing shoes and bags available right now at rothys.com/chatty. That's rothys.com, rothys.com/chatty. Comfort, style, and sustainability meet to create your new favorites. Head to rothys.com/chatty today. I also wanted to say, I was, side note about that. The other day I was talking about like the recycled plastic clothes, which is an issue with the clothing products that I was talking about, but not with the shoes because they're made like super durable. They don't shed the microplastics because of the like woven fabric that they use, and you don't have to throw them in the washing machine. So
yeah, that's very true.
I just want to say that doesn't conflict with what I was talking about the other day, and I love my ROTHYS.
ROTHYS they're also so damn durable.
I know.
I've been taking them on hikes. I've gotten them so beat up. Those things do not stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
They're great.
I love them.
Anyway.
Okay, so unfortunately for Madi, Hannah did have 10s across the board because now she is about to walk into something that is quite different. Her lashes have an extra layer of mascara on them, which means there are about 17 coats on there at this point because it's a big day.
They really were looking extra long, weren't they?
There had to have been extra coats.
I think maybe of waterproof.
Good call.
So
those waterproof does get a little chunkier.
Also, even before that, Chris Harrison, one thing I did note when he was doing his little intro for it, he called Madison's thing an ultimatum. Did you catch that?
I didn't.
He referred to it as an ultimatum in the live studio.
Chris.
We caught that, you sly dog.
You think you can pull one over on us? Well, you pulled it over on me, but you didn't pull it over on Bekah.
I caught it. Also, I legitimately thought the driver was driving backwards as you see this car pulling up with Madison. Did you see? So I guess in Australia, they drive on the right side.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't know was a thing. I thought it was only in the UK. Okay. And I see someone fully turned around in their seat on the driver's side. What would be the driver's side of the US? And I was like, here they come. This date's already going to shit. The driver's turned fully back around in his seat.
A really poor start. Oh my God. Okay, well, Peter says before, he says, I'm in love with Madi. I am so in love with Madi. Like, it is emphatic. We can tell in this moment that Madi, he's leaning more towards Madi at this point. It seems quite obvious.
I think that the thing is his family, and we see this even more in the episode. It's like reverse psychology.
Oh, it's a perfect example of literally something that probably every single person has experienced in relationship with their family. I was watching it going, oh my God, this exact scenario happened with my family. And I ran into the arms of someone, and about 2 months dating that person, I was like, oh, I don't think I like you very much.
Oh, you know those people who know me better than most people? Guess they actually knew me and I shouldn't be with this person.
Oh, turns out they were right.
Of course, this isn't the case with everyone.
I'll never admit. Oh, no, of course not.
No, but like you're saying, like he lives with them. He's 28.
Yes. Of course, sometimes, there's plenty of families who that's not the case with. But I think a lot of times too, as kids, it's a reverse psychology thing. You're like the second your parents dig their heels down at all,
even if you're like 30,
it's like, you don't understand my love.
It's different when she and I are alone together. Which, by the way, is like the biggest flag in a relationship. You know, when you have a friend like that,
yeah,
it's different when it's just me.
You're just like, what? Why though?
Yeah, exactly.
How come I only see you guys when you guys are fighting?
Yeah.
You're only happy when you're alone? Well, guess what? In the world,
welcome to reality.
In the world, there are more people. You're not going to be alone that much. There's going to be a lot of people around all the time.
Okay, so their conversation.
Okay. Bekah, I feel like before I even start, I'm just going to get in trouble. But I'm just going to say this right now. I'm probably going to get in trouble.
Why?
Because I just felt like I didn't like the way that this went.
What I was seeing on the internet, and I really felt like a lot of people are blinded by... I just keep seeing this rebuttal over and over again of there's nothing wrong with telling someone you feel comfortable with them sleeping with other people. And this whole dynamic between them and this whole playing out of events is so beyond just her saying that she doesn't feel comfortable with that. So I wish people would stop just throwing that out there. There's nothing wrong with not wanting your partner to sleep with other people. And I'm like, of course not. But there's so much more context and so much more other like manifestation of how you're expressing things and what your actions are showing and all this different stuff. Granted, when we're talking about this conversation too, I also want to put in context, we're talking about this conversation and not, I mean, we know that she leaves at the end of this episode. So, but let's push that aside for a second and like look at everything that's playing out here. Right, you know what I'm saying?
But then also, yes, she does leave, but we also then are getting clips of her telling Chris Harrison that she's made a mistake, and we see footage of her potentially driving back. So maybe she does come back.
But her tan is substantially lighter in that clip of her talking to Chris Harrison. So it has to be weeks later.
What's gonna happen?
She was so much paler. I noticed that.
I can't wait for tonight. I'm freaking out. What's gonna happen?
So, okay.
Wow, you're very, you notice a lot of things. I really don't. I don't pick up on that type of stuff.
I was like, she's 10 shades lighter. What the heck? Because she looked like a different person to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway.
I need to work on my detective skills. Yes, and I completely agree with what you're saying. For me, this is really beyond this actual conversation. What it is just this inherent, like, you guys, like this, there's so many differences. There's so many differences. And the big elephant in the room that you won't talk about, and it's making me furious, is that Madi doesn't want to have sex until she gets married. You guys are still not having the actual conversation.
Yeah, so I was watching it with my sister too, and my sister was like, why don't they just sit down and like hash out each of their beliefs too? And then we were like, well, because where's the fun and spiciness and hotness in that? But if they actually just sat down and be like, let's really talk about foundationally.
Yes,
like,
what do we believe?
What do we believe about like things that are big, in Madison's life and in all people's lives? There's like, what is the nature of who God is? How does God play a role in our lives?
Yeah, do you guys really know what the other person feels about? Like,
what do you think about drinking? What do you think about me going out with my friends? Well, what do you think about me watching porn?
Well, and clearly we see that she's not like super down with that, because when those things are getting brought up, you can tell that she's like, yeah, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. And that's, again, completely fine. But like, how do either of them think this is going to pan out? What
are your political beliefs? Where do you want to be living? Like, all of these, of course, are not deal breakers. But when you culminate all of these different things together, like his dad was saying, like, how compatible are the two of you, really?
And I'm going to say this as someone, who's been in a relationship for a really long time. Having differences is good and fun and important. And I think it helps you continue to grow. But
what brings you back together?
When you have so many fundamental beliefs that are different, like so many, because to me, it's like you can even have two people, obviously, with two different religious beliefs, but there's like fundamental things that are the same. But with Madi and Peter, it's like so much is different.
What are the things? Are we seeing, what do you see that they have in common?
I just see that they have a good time together and there's chemistry. But again, this to me, goes outside of religious beliefs. This goes to the fact that Peter is a pilot, who grew up in the Hollywood lifestyle in Westlake, and Madi is, a college basketball player who like grew up in a small town and doesn't seem like she necessarily wants to leave. Like there's just so much. And again, those separately, all these things can work out. It's just like you said, the full culmination of all of it is like, this could end up being a very, very, very stressful relationship, because you just don't have that commonality. And you want to talk long-term, when you have that much different, that's really hard.
And also, I know that, I know families are not, you need to live your own life outside of your family. Peter doesn't have his own life outside of his family, first of all. And both of their families are very involved in their lives. And both of their families don't seem super stoked on the other person, or it doesn't seem like that's going to be what can play out if they move forward in their relationship. So it's like, that is also a really big stressor, because they're both really involved, and that shit sucks. If you have in-laws, if you're even just dating someone and you're not constantly not vibing with the rents that they are in contact with every day.
You guys, it causes a lot of problems in your relationship. I can tell you that firsthand.
I mean, like family vacations, birthday dinners,
holidays, where are we going to stay? I mean, like it causes a lot of problems. And again, that's one piece of this puzzle. Like you were saying, we talk about literal lifestyles. One person doesn't drink, one does. One parties, one doesn't. One is sexually active, one isn't. Who knows what the political beliefs are? They live in two separate places. Like there's so much that's different.
I don't think that I don't think he's really, really thought about this, because I was even just thinking when you said holidays, like, imagine what that's going to be like for him when they go visit her family at Christmas, and or, you know, she comes to visit his family or whatever, and they're staying in separate hotel rooms or whatever, or separate. I mean, that is just going to be a whole new world for him.
Or even the fact that, like, do you think Barb is going to be okay with Peter having Christmas over there?
Oh my God.
No. And again, I'm telling this to you firsthand because I've experienced this. And Evan and my families, they live very close to each other. And his is very involved. And I'm just going to say it's love him to death. But like, you have hard. And my family's not. You have two families like that. That shit gets wild. Mm-hmm. So and again, sure you can make it work, but it's just all the factors combined that they're just not thinking about.
It's just going to be really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And I don't think either one of them are prepared for that.
No, not at all.
So let's get into their conversation.
Yeah, let's talk their conversation. So she right away, again, it's the same energy like we saw last week. She's just not happy. Like, she comes in unhappy. Peter's like, how are you doing? She's like, I'm not good. And she says, this is your journey. You're a big boy. And I want you to make your own decision, but I wanted you to see the weight and gravity, and she said, I was okay with and what I wasn't okay with. Blah,
and
blah,
then
blah.
she said, up until then, I hadn't asked anything of you, which right away, we kind of talked about before. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like, up until then, I hadn't asked anything of you, that kind of thing. It's like, I'll get more into this in a second.
I just feel like,
let's talk. We'll get more into it as more of this conversation plays out. She says, I felt like in that moment you put your feelings and your wants and your needs way above mine, and that was so hurtful. And
okay, I have to say it. I just feel like, especially when she said, I haven't asked anything from you. I've defended you and trusted you, and you know, all these things. I just feel like, again, even let's just say if Madi went on the show hoping it was Tyler, when she says, I haven't asked anything from you, it's kind of like, but he hasn't asked anything from her either. The only thing that he's quote unquote asking from her is like for her to be okay with him dating all these other women, which she signed up for. So my thing is, the only thing that could be used.
He didn't put her in this situation and in this position.
And what happens is, what I'm feeling in the energy of this conversation is Peter's being made to feel bad for even going, like, it goes beyond having sex. It's like her being in this situation, the fact that they met in this context anyways, and you're kind of like, yeah, but you went on the show, and now this is, and I'm saying this, like, it's not a good foot to start your relationship off where the other person is already apologizing and she's making him feel like, I haven't asked you for anything. And
like she said before, I sacrifice so much, like watching you make out with the other girl. And it's like, okay, you did sign up for this situation for him to be dating other people, and he doesn't owe you anything because of that.
No, and again, even if we were on, let's talk Virgin. Let's talk Virgin Bachelor. Let's talk Colton. Let's talk Sean Lowe. These guys made out with tons of women. So it's like, it's not like she's even been seeing, even if she's going to say, hey, none of the other guys slept with, and I was hoping that maybe I'd be on a season where the guy wasn't having sex in the fantasy suites. There's still that feeling where on top of the sex, she was, in her brain, she already felt like she was sacrificing. She already felt like
she was giving something.
She was giving him something.
She was allowing him.
And so they're going to walk away. Let's just say he didn't even have sex with any of the women in the fantasy suite. My thought is, this specific show is not the right environment for Madi because of her beliefs.
It's going to be something that is going to take a lot of undoing in her brain to get out of her subconscious as they move forward. It's
so much mental energy for her to try to, like you said, undo all this. And I feel bad for her in that way too, because that's like this level of anxiety that she's putting herself through, probably having to watch this season with Peter. But my thought is this: let's just say he didn't even have sex with any of the women. He walks away proposing to Madi. They run into, the fields together. I still think she would have felt like she was making sacrifices the whole time because of his relationship with the other women. So their whole relationship in general would start off kind of on this sour note of like, you owe me a little bit.
Well, yeah. And also like this idea that he put his feelings and wants and needs above hers. I think that, you know, a lot of people are saying like it's fair to ask your partner not to sleep with other people. But I think we're also not taking enough consideration about the nature of the show. And I know there's been other bachelors that haven't slept with the other ones, whatever. Put that aside. The nature of this show is there, and which he has kept saying is, I have 2 other relationships. Like this, it's not like she's the main chick and these are the side chicks. Like these are all people that he's dating and considering marrying. And it's also like the nature of the show is, yeah, it's all about Peter. Yeah. And that's kind of is what you're signing yourself up for. So for him putting his feelings and wants and needs in the context of his other relationships, like, yeah, they are going to go. I don't know how to, I guess I'm not really describing that well.
I understand what you're saying though. Again, it's the context of the show. And again, this is not like my biggest thing is that when even people are saying other bachelors didn't sleep with some of the other women, that's fine. My point is, I think that even if he wouldn't have slept with the other women, I think they'd be still having this conversation after the show while she's watching back as he's making out with the other women, telling other women that he loves them. This would be problematic, as it is for a lot of people after the show. But I think to a different level because of Madi's faith and like, the fact that she keeps saying that she already was sacrificing before this point, that she wasn't asking anything of him. She was defending him. Like she was giving him everything.
Again, so there's nothing wrong with saying this is what so basically let's just break it down. She says this is a deal breaker. You sleeping with other women is a deal breaker. Fair.
Totally fair.
Do we think she should have brought it up sooner? Would it have been better for him to know all this sooner? Yeah, sure, whatever. Fine for her to say that. This is a deal breaker. He does said deal breaker, which is fully his right and his choice as he is pursuing relationships with 2 other women. And in that moment, he did show her, yeah, Madi, I care more about pursuing these other relationships than I'm not sure that you're the one. So no, I'm not going to make that sacrifice for you. I'm not going to make that sacrifice. Deal breaker was done. She then continues with the relationship. So at that point, it's not really on him to like make it up to her somehow, because that's just the way that I see it. She was like, this is a deal breaker. He did it. She didn't leave. And then now he's going to have to do a dance and like make up for the thing that he chose to do that she said she was going to leave if he did it.
Yeah, this is a very different, this is again a very, very, very different context if they were in the outside world and they were in a relationship and he like cheated. This is very different.
Cheating is different though.
That's what I'm saying.
But
what I'm saying is if in the outside world, you know, he cheated and then she decided to take him back. Yeah, he better be fucking making up for it. Do you know what I'm saying? But in this context, it is a little weird. It's a little gray.
It's like if you told Evan, I don't want you going on this tour because this tour compromises my beliefs. I don't know what the context would be of that. And then Evan was like, and you guys aren't married, you're dating. You said, if you go on this tour, I can't move forward with our relationship.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm interested in pursuing my career and going on this tour. He goes on tour. You decide to stay with him. And then you're like, I can't believe you went on that tour. You need to make this up to me. Yes. I sacrificed so much. It's like, well.
And what I'll say is that I would for sure do that. So in this situation, I can't like hate on it too much.
You can't fault her for it necessarily.
Because I get it. I get being in this. I get being in this situation where you're super attracted to somebody. You know, she probably in her deepest parts wants to have sex with him. She wants to be with him. She wants him to be her guy. but like, you know that it's not the right thing because of all the differences. And so you're wanting so badly for the other person to be like, you're right, screw all this, let's take off. I'm not gonna, you know, do this, and that. I'm gonna become a youth pastor. Like, whatever her, like, what she wants, like, that's what she wants in her heart. And I've been in this situation before, and I've done this so many times where I'm like, I know that it's, I know that I can't ask. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what it is? The issue I'm having with the response I'm seeing on the internet, etc., is that it's like she is right and justified in the way that she's going about this. And I don't think it's that. I don't think that she's right in the way she's moving forward with. I think she should have left instead of like continuing it for it to be this thing. And I think that maybe if he really did love her, he maybe shouldn't have done that. I mean, I don't think either of them are really right in this scenario. But I don't think it's right to paint her as being fully justified in the way she's handling this situation. Okay, especially, let's move on in this conversation because, first of all, editing in heartbeats left and right throughout this whole conversation. Anytime that they're talking now. So she says, and this is the part where I'm like, I'm seeing this little bit of using these little hooks and unpulling. And this is where I saw some of what I felt like was minor manipulation take place, aside from the holding this over your head, even though I said I was going to be out the door if this happened.
I think what you're about to say is probably some of the reason that I have been saying what I'm saying for the past like 10 minutes is because of the whole context of this conversation.
So she says, I was ready to say yes if you got down on one knee. And the conversation keeps playing out. And I just, so she says that. And then he goes, you know, like, you're the only person, which I thought was super fair, who hasn't told me how you feel about me.
Yep. And I it's funny because I kind of had forgotten about that.
Yes.
Like, I had forgotten about the fact that like all these other women are like, I love you so much. And of course that's Peter's thing. And she's the one who hasn't, and we haven't even seen him in any interviews be like really questioning that, which with the other women he was.
So I sort of thought that this conversation would have been appropriate to bring up when they had their dinner portion of the date on Fantasy Suites Week, because that's what I would have brought up as him. Like, you haven't expressed how you feel about me, yet you keep, and I've told you like how I'm feeling, and you're expecting. So, and this is interesting of her saying like, I haven't asked anything of you up until this point, but she also hasn't given him anything, like how I expressing like how she feels towards him. And then it's interesting to me that then she's like, you need, if like this is, I won't be able to go on if this and this happens. And then he brings up like, you're the only person who didn't tell me how you felt.
We've heard her
me.
talk in interviews, but she has not. She's almost always about to say something, and then it's like, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And he then said it felt like an ultimatum since she hasn't expressed how she feels until now. But then she says, I didn't know how I felt until now. And I'm like, but you just said.
I think she was saying she didn't know how she felt until they were up on the tower or on that very scary thing. And she was going to tell him at dinner.
Okay, but then also
but technically the ultimatum was, the quote unquote ultimatum was before then,
dropped the week before. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, then what? Did you just expect that he hadn't slept with anyone because of what you said the week before? And then you were going to tell him that you love, like, I was just like, it felt, I'm not saying that wasn't her intention. It just sort of felt like at that point she was like, saying what she needed to say in the conversation. And then she was saying things like, you know, I was just focused on us, but the decisions that you make do affect us. And that's something that is true that I think Peter needs to learn in his own personal life, is that like, you know, decisions, because we've seen this entire season, Peter pop in and be like, such and such said this, drop the bomb in the room, watch all the women explode, remove a girl, bring her back. It's like, hey guy. Sure.
Everyone's affected by these decisions. So like whatever decision Peter's making outside of Madi and his relationship is affecting Madi. Yes. And I think sometimes Peter doesn't think about this when he's in a room alone with one girl. It's like, yo, this is going to affect numerous people, my friend. And
I'm not saying that I don't doubt that she felt that way about being ready to get engaged to him and what have you. I'm not saying that.
she didn't communicate it with
None
him.
of that was expressed. And then also it's sort of this thing of like, well, I didn't know how I felt back then. And it's like, well, you must have felt something before the tower moment. Like you don't just not feel anything or not are sure how you feel. And then all of a sudden you're up on a tower with someone and you're like, I love them. I'm going to tell them tonight at dinner. So it's like, I don't know how you can say, I don't think there can be both. Maybe I'm just nitpicking a little bit, but I just felt that was fair of him to bring up. Like you had never expressed how you feel.
I think that it was, he brought up too, which is important for her to remember. He's like, I have been in your exact shoes.
Yep.
Like, I understand what you're saying. I understand.
Because she said, didn't you hold back when you were on this side of it?
Yeah. And it was like, not that what I remember. I mean, he said he did a little bit, but from what I remember with Peter,
no, he laid it all out there.
He was pretty straightforward. I remember, I think it was the week before even hometown dates, Peter might have said like that he's in love with her or something.
I think so too.
He said it pretty stinking early, I think, with Hannah Brown. And he was always pretty out there with his emotions.
It was a good reminder though of like, yeah, I do know what it's like to be in your position.
And it sucks.
Been there.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
And he acknowledged the suckiness of it.
Yeah.
But then she said, at this point, I feel like I'm hanging on by a thread. If I'm just being honest, I need to feel confident and sure and at peace. And I don't feel that way right now. But then she does the flip and she says, as mad as I was that night, I didn't want to leave your arms. And this is then where I was getting a little bit like where my heart rate started to go through the roof for both of them.
Well, she also said you have to, he said, you just have to meet me halfway. I'm like, what does that mean?
No idea.
Is this a sexual innuendo?
What are you talking about?
No. Yeah, and she said, I didn't want to leave your arms. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's then when I was like, okay, like I said, my heart rate started to go through the roof because I was like, okay, now what I was feeling was I thought she was about to leave. I thought she was going to walk away before meeting the family. And because she was like, I'm hanging on by a thread. And then the switch flips a little bit and then they start getting more cozy and intimate. And then
she goes,
the chemistry starts firing up.
She says, love isn't the issue. Which I'm like, oh, what is the issue then?
I mean, well, all this other.
She said, it's all this other crap. And I'm like, AKA both of your lives and who you are. Who you are fundamentally as people is what's getting in the way of your love.
But watching this was just giving me anxiety because it was just like, as painful as it was, as soon as she said, I'm hanging on by a thread, I was like, oh, she's going to walk away and this is going to suck. But you know what? They need this.
He says, let's just do it.
Peter.
And then she goes, you know, me speaking up and choosing not to leave is fighting, right? Which again, like, I think maybe I'm reading a little too far into it, but there is this undercurrent of like, I've given you so much.
Well, but that's the energy that I'm feeling from her the past like 2 weeks. And it was actually a lot of, and obviously, you know, there were 100,000 reasons why we had a problem with Victoria F and didn't have a problem with Madi. So I'm not comparing the two of them, but in this specific way, the energy that Peter had with Victoria F was kind of like Peter was always apologizing, and it was kind of like he felt bad. And I think kind of Peter likes that, because then once you see his dynamic with his mom,
of course,
you're just kind of like, I think Peter just likes to,
and I think
to be in the situation where he's apologizing and kind of like, I don't know, it's an interesting dynamic.
I think that he would probably be super into dominatrix shit, by the way. He's been like, have I been bad? Do you need to punish me? Like, I could see him being super into that kind of kink for sure. Because he seems to like this.
Loving Madi doing this because he's like, maybe we're not having sex, but I'm so
also, like this narrative. Yeah, this narrative about I got really sick of throughout the episode about fighting for love. And I'm like, yeah, love is something you should fight for, but you shouldn't have to fight and wade through everything that comes up in your relationship.
Literally preach this from the rooftops because it was getting me so upset. I feel like this is such the stereotypical, and this is like, you know, so obnoxious to me, but just like, listen, Disney, like one of those things that we're taught and inundated with that like, it's not real love if you don't have to fight for it. And it's like, listen, that's
It's one of two. It's either like love is supposed to be easy.
Right.
Or love is something you fight for.
Right. You're
like maybe it's both.
What about just like mellow love, man?
Maybe it's both. Maybe there's trials you're going to have to face together, but
you know, that type of toxic thinking sometimes is what gets people like, hey, your girl over here for years in a situation where when all of a sudden Evan and I would just actually be coasting and doing well, I'd want to throw a flamethrower in it because I'm like, it's just too easy right now. It's too mellow. Something must be wrong. The passion isn't there. And it's like, no, sometimes it just isn't. It happens naturally. And again, like you said, going through tough things together can be so like beautiful and binding you together. And I'm not saying that, but the fact that like it needs to be hard is like, no, guys, like,
I know.
You don't have to it doesn't have to always be a fight. Sometimes you meet someone, and especially, and I'll say this 12 times, especially when you're first meeting somebody. Yeah. This is different.
In the first 6 weeks of your relationship.
Yes. This is different when you've been with someone for a while and tough things come up and you fight through
life
it.
Shit.
And you don't just give up on it because you guys have differences and it's hard. Yeah. We're talking from the get-go. You guys haven't even...
we're talking first 2 months.
You guys aren't even official. He's still with other people. And it's this like fighting for love. No.
Also, they wrap up the conversations. That's when she says, I love you. I was going to tell you that night.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay. Anyway, but he wraps up the conversations.
Eyes are closed and he's sniffing her hair. He's just like,
he was so close to her face. I was like, back up, bro. Back up, please. He wraps up the conversation, talking to the camera, and goes, I don't have any concerns. I have zero worries.
I'm like, Peter, I swear to God.
Are you dumb?
Peter, I have been a stan for you this entire season. When everyone was coming for you, Peter, I was like, you know what? I get it. And this episode, the entire episode, the amount of head smacking I was doing because of Peter's decisions and the things that he was saying, I was just like, dude, it's too far now. Like now we're dealing with like some real shit where like we're about to get engaged and things. And it's too much. It's too much, my guy. Yeah. You need to chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're going into this in a really weird place because they just had like the most intense, like she's about to leave, heavy conversation. She's upset. Mm-hmm. And then they start to snuggle and the chemistry picks back up. And she tells Peter that like, I could do this forever. And now they're going in kind of smiley and romantic with each other. But then the second they walk actually into the room, aka reality, you see it hit her again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and also, obviously, because Peter doesn't really have boundaries with his family, it seems, and has already laid out everything on the table. They already know. And his dad's instigating because she says there's been some roadblocks. And his dad goes, what was the roadblock?
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, Jim, you sly dog, you know exactly what the fucking roadblock is. What
Are you going to make her say it in front of all of you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Maddie, this is just a little picture of what your life's going to look like. So now's the time where you should probably be like, do I want my in-laws asking about our sex life all the time? Mm-hmm. Probably not. This is probably where you go, I'm going to go back and stick with my fam.
Mm-hmm. And she goes, for me personally, it'd be hard if you were to sleep with someone else. It hasn't been easy, but I love him. And Barb is just real unimpressed. She's sitting there like...
Well, Barb was real unimpressed the second Madi walked in the room. Also, the energy that Madi walked into the room with, she was kind of half smiling. She didn't cry, which was a fatal move. Also, she wasn't like, oh my God, it's so good to see you guys again. There wasn't this connection of like, she should have been like, I missed you guys. Something, but it was just like, hey. And she came into the room with the backpack on of, I don't think I should be doing this. And everyone could smell it, right?
And she also said, I love him to the parents, like, and this is literally like seconds after she's just told Peter for the first time too. And so there's sort of this like, it's just interesting. And the dad says, Jim says, you can tell things are strained.
Strained.
It's like, yeah, you can. You can cut the tension with
everybody
the
can feel it. Everybody can feel it. Well, Jim has the conversation with Madi, and I feel like, though he drama prize, which I'm dead about. He digs. But he also does dig respectfully, because he is, he's like, I'm sorry we're in this situation.
Fair questions
he's saying like, I'm sorry that we're having to do this. Like, this is uncomfortable, but do you see yourselves being fully compatible? Are there differences that bother you? And that's when Madi brings up that her faith is her whole world. And then that Peter shared that he could grow that. Yeah, she said, he said he could grow that, and that was something I could cling on to. And I'm like, you've been clinging real hard, But the problem is, again, and this is just echoing everything that we keep saying, this is the fundamental issue. It's not the conversation of, Madi absolutely has the right to leave or ask something, and if that ask doesn't follow through, to leave. That's fine. But it's just now this on top of it. She's clinging to the fact that Peter's promising to grow in his faith. So this whole relationship is built on like Peter saying, I'm going to keep trying. That's what this relationship is. Yeah. And that's just like, again, you don't want to start a relationship that way.
Yeah. And you just know, you just see it playing out as it, even when it's sorted through, more than likely it's going to be one of those things when they're in that argument, when they're doing a little press tour 2 months down the road, if they get back together or whatever, where it's like, it's going to be so hard to let go of.
There's so many arguments that are going to, that would happen and again, no one's fault, just two different people. That's all.
And it's hard. And I know people who are couples who are on the same page in their lifestyles, but have different histories. I have a friend I can think of in particular who was a virgin when her husband was the first person she slept with, and he had a whole past. He had ex-partners, he had gotten around, he even had like an ex-wife, all this kind of thing. And she's talked about, it is extremely hard for her to move forward, and has been to move forward and get over it. And it's been something that's been an ongoing process for years. They're older now and together, years throughout their relationship. And it's just it's not that simple. And she knows too much about his sex life because it's on reality television, not only with Hannah Ann and Victoria, but also Hannah. Like, she knows of 3 people that he's had sex with.
Oh, for sure.
And then, of course, like, you see his family saying, like, he likes to have
what
the
can we
sex.
Say? He likes the sex.
So it's like, that is just going to be really hard.
Yeah, but then Madi's saying that she does genuinely want what's best for Peter. And this is the moment where I see, at least for me, and maybe I'm reading into it, but I see in her eyes where I'm like, she's leaving. Because it was like it hit her. And I think Madi's a really good person. And I think she's stuck in this shit situation that maybe she brought on herself by putting herself on a show like this, not maybe thinking that it was going to be Peter, nor maybe thinking that she was going to get this far or fall in love or whatever. Yeah. And I think in that moment I saw, I'm like, oh no, I think she really does love Peter deeply. And that's why she left, because she knows that it's the better choice.
Yes. And let's get into that when we get there. But I think I think she ultimately made the right decision. That was the moment
where I feel like I saw where it was like, I want what's best for him. And it was like,
and also
maybe
like,
this isn't what's best for him.
I want what's best for me.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, I want what's best for my life. And it's like, what? Yeah. Yeah. He's just not that, how you do when you're I'm just talking about my experience. Like, when you're a young Christian girl and you write down like the things you want in a husband and the qualities you want in someone, like this guy that she's been dreaming of and praying for is not Peter. Yeah. It's just not.
I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the MVP of the, oh my God.
Oh the MVP my of the God. Jack sits down and he
just setting Jack.
Obviously you're very physical. Is that something he's basically like, is that something you're down with? Not having sex till you're married? You're down with that, bro? And Peter is like instantly tweaked. It's literally your sibling being like, yes, bro, you talk about the chicks you bang like all the fucking time, and we both know about those twins we tag teamed last month in wherever the fuck they were while they were like,
Peter got so defensive so fast, and all I could think of was he was just like, Jack, don't fucking ruin this for me.
He's like, I cannot believe
and you know what? You know what else is going to be another argument? I can tell you this right now. Peter goes with Madi. Madi's at a family dinner. You know Jack's going to be like, oh, yeah, dude, remember the one time that that's how it's going to be. And he'll bring up some girl that Peter dated.
You know
and then
why?
Maddie's like...
You know why? Because Jack's pissed because it's his bud. It's his friend.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm sure everything he said was true, but it's also like, this is his bro who they fucking go out together.
He's like, dude, you got a couple million followers now. We're doing real well in the streets. Like, we're doing real well in the clubs. The women are all coming up to us. Like, come on, man. I'm going to ruin this for you.
Bro, we get laid. It's what we do.
He's like, and if you go with Hannah Ann, at least maybe I can start to really slide into Hannah G's DMs. Her and Dylan, who knows? You know, she's always been my type. Like, there's so many layers to this going on too. But I do genuinely think he was the one who had his head on his shoulders being like, hey guy, remember, I'm your best friend. I'm your best buddy. I know you. You really want to do this?
And his mother had all these other things that were going on with her, with these like kind of ulterior motives of like who she wants to hang out with and cook breakfast with in the morning, obviously. But yeah, Jack is genuinely like, bro, like we're best friends. Yeah, exactly. We're best friends.
I know you. And like, I get that she's great, but also like, are you down to not have sex until you're married?
And he said she's into ministry, and I died when he said that.
No.
Because she's into ministry, and when you're back from a trip, you're line dancing, you don't stop, you're hitting up the club. I'm like, oh my God.
Which, by the way, we've seen now on Peter's Instagram that he does these like short-term missions trips. So you know Jack literally probably has gone on a short-term missions trip with Peter.
They're fired up for the Lord.
Peter comes back home, goes straight to the club, does some vodka Red Bull, goes home with someone, is like living his life, and Jack's like, Peter, are you sure? Oh, I was laughing so hard. And then he's like, are your lifestyles compatible? And Peter literally says, yes, we've talked about it. We're good.
And then he goes, you know, when he's asking, are you going to be compromising, blah, blah, blah. When Jack's asking him that, he goes, of course I'm going to be compromising parts of myself. That's what a relationship is. And I'm like,
Peter, you have an unhealthy view of relationships.
Like, you're going to be compromising in relationships because you have to compromise in relationships with people. We have to compromise with each other. You know, we have to compromise with our children. Compromising is part of relationships, but compromising parts of yourself is not fundamental for a relationship.
I think it's problematic if you assume that in a relationship, you're going to have to compromise yourself.
Give up parts of who you are.
Work. Yes. Compromise? I don't think so. Like, yes.
Compromising yourself. You know what I mean?
When you are in a relationship with someone, sometimes you do have to make sacrifices.
You may compromise. You say, no, I'm not going to go out to the club every weekend anymore.
Well, yes, it's like, okay, if I'm not going to maybe go out with my guys who are all single constantly.
My girl doesn't like that. So we stay home a lot more. Like,
fine. But like, the way that he said that was, of course, that's what you do in relationships. You compromise your lifestyle. I was like, Peter, what? Like, you are, oh my Lord. It's just wild to me that, like, for parents who have been together for so long, he truly does not have a healthy perspective on relationships.
Or it's just his dad constantly compromising for Barb. And he's just like, that's what you do.
That's what you do.
No, but Jim seems really like they seem really happy together.
That's what I'm saying. They seem happy.
He doesn't seem like this miserable trapped guy.
But the thing is, maybe they didn't have compromising lifestyles. I think she was a flight attendant. I think he was a pilot.
Oh my God.
It was like they met. They seem like they're very much like on a similar page. Maybe they had to compromise certain things like family wise or whatever. And like maybe they talk about Peter with that a lot. Like, you got to compromise sometimes, bud. Sometimes, like, you know, your mom, she wants to pay a little more to get her nails done every month. And do I want to sacrifice that money? No. But you know what? You got to compromise. And like, maybe she's hearing that.
His parents are compatible. They go to a work event, and you know they're throwing back martinis and getting down on the dance floor. She's throwing out fun innuendos at game night about their sex life. They're compatible.
They go to their son's work event, and they have sex in an Escalade. Their son's on the hour, like, he's at work.
Or even they are down to do that thing for the show.
Yes.
Like they're just both like, that's fun. Let's pretend we're having sex in the back of the car. I mean, it's just different. It's just different.
Unless Barb's forcing it. But it doesn't seem like it. Jim seems
happy.
Yeah.
So the Jack goes to the camera. On one side, there's a seemingly perfect girl. And then what did he say? Like something like on the other side, there's a chick with a lot of red flags.
And then there's Madi. She's raising a lot of concerns and red flags. His family does not like Madi.
They don't vibe.
They do not vibe with Madi at all.
Let's talk about vibing. Can we talk about boobs and lube? Boobs and lubes?
Should we talk about boobs and lubes?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We gotta take a pause after this heaviness, talk about boobs and lubes. Listen, friends. We're all friends here. So I'll go ahead and be brutally honest. My post-breastfeeding boobs were not looking how I necessarily wanted them to look in a bra. Of course, I wouldn't have traded the experience of breastfeeding for the world, but now that it's long over, I wanted to give the girls a little pick-me-up, literally. And your girl over here likes some cleavage like I used to have, if I can manage it. The problem is the traditional bra sizes available in department stores just weren't doing anything for me. And to be honest, it was a little discouraging. Then I heard about Third Love, and hallelujah, their online Fit Finder quiz suggested I try bras in a size that stores don't even carry. No wonder I wasn't having any luck.
Third Love does bras differently, starting with their Fit Finder quiz. You'll answer a few questions to get your personalized sizing and style recommendation. And when I say sizing, I mean inclusive sizing, not 8 different size options that we were led to believe are the only ones for years and years and years. No. Third Love has 80 different sizes based off of measurements from millions of women, including half cup sizes. And I promise your perfect fit is on the site.
And if after all that you're still not 100% happy, take advantage of Third Love's Perfect Fit Promise. You have 60 days to take your bras for a test run, wear them, wash them, and if you don't love them, return them. And Third Love will make sure they are donated to another boob owner in need.
Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now, they're offering our Chatty Broads listeners 15% off their first order. Go to thirdlove.com/chatty now to get your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/chatty for 15% off today.
Well, speaking of how good my boobs are looking in these now fitting Third Love bras, let's talk sex. There's about 1,000 things that can get in the way of a fantastic sex life. Busy days, hormonal changes, low libido, the list goes on and on. But there's one solution that has really helped me oh so greatly, and that is O-Shot by Omax. Every broad deserves to experience stronger, more frequent orgasms, whether it's self-love or partner love. Omax O-Shot has got you covered.
I love this product because I'm so sensitive to other lubes and I get irritated really easily, but I've had no issues with O-Shot because it's all natural, made with 8 natural botanicals and full spectrum CBD, but none of the other artificial ingredients traditionally found in lube. You can actually know what each one of these ingredients are and pronounce them. 100% chemical free, naturally stimulating, and fully edible. It's really a must try.
The effects are pretty instant too. All you have to do is gently apply 3 or 4 pumps to intimate areas, and the luxurious oil instantly heightens sensation and arousal for up to 60 minutes. Plus, if you're looking for some fun on the go, O-Shot comes in a TSA compliant size with a no mess airless pump, if you catch my drift. Bekah and I are probably going to New York soon together, and you know that TSA compliant O-Shot bottle is coming with me. Don't worry, Bekah, I am booking us different rooms because love you, but mama needs her alone time.
Whether you are single or you're looking to spice up your relationship with more satisfying sex, every person can benefit from a more enjoyable orgasmic experience. Omax's O-Shot comes to the rescue and provides heightened sexual sensations, which can give you that instant and long-lasting satisfaction you've been looking for, and it's 100% safe and natural. Go to omaxhealth.com today and enter code CHATTY for 20% off O-Shot and all Omax products site-wide. That's omaxhealth.com, promo code CHATTY to take advantage of these incredible savings on O-Shot and all their products.
Okay, let's talk Barb and Madi.
Okay, so they sit down. Oh my God, I could not believe how spicy this conversation got.
This conversation was so spicy. I thought that they were going to start swinging at each other like straight up.
Oh my God.
Barb is coming in hot. She's like, I understand you're very religious. Peter is very spiritual like me. Now, this is also what I was getting from Barb. Barb was giving me energy of like, you think you're better than me, don't you, Madi? Because when Barb added that Peter is very spiritual like me, and it was kind of like, I go to church, Madison, but in our family, we're okay with this. Do you think you're better than us?
I think I actually could see, so Gray was saying this, his parents were both raised in strict Catholic households. And what we were saying is we could see possibly that she's been raised in possibly some like strict Catholic household or something.
Sure.
She might have her own little background or the people that she's interacted with being slut shamed when she was younger.
Yeah.
Having possibly growing up in some sort of sex suppressive household. And so with this, she's like, no one's going to tell my son he can't get it on.
Nope. My baby boy is getting the sex.
Which some people might be like, oh, that's weird. But then I was like, I think that there could very well be some history. I mean, Barb's older. She's coming from a different time. And, you know, she was growing up through that women's liberation and the free love in the 60s and 70s. And she's like, we're not doing that 50s shit anymore. I felt like that was kind of her vibe.
Well, because she came in super hot.
Yeah.
And again, when she added in like me, I was like, ooh, this is also involving you. She's like, but how important is it for you to have someone not on your same level of faith? And she used the word level of faith. It was almost like we're 3s and you're like an 8.5. So where are you okay with falling?
She goes, I don't know if you're aware. Oh my God. I don't know if you're aware, but he goes out on weekends. He parties. You two have a little bit, no, quite a bit of differences. And I don't want anyone to change him.
Oh my God.
And she straight up said, or tell you can't tell someone else that he can't be physical. She said,
but to tell someone else when there are other girls, whether he wants to get physical or emotional, that's up to him. Like she like chastised Madi. Oh my God. Honestly, and I'm going to be real with you. If I was Madi, I'd be furious. I'd be so mad. I'd be so angry at Peter. I'd be like, why the hell did you tell your parents about this very personal part of our conversation right before I met them? I'd be so mad. And now
you really laid a fucking foundation for me. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. And now I'm having to sit and your mom is like giving me a hard time about like I'd be so pissed off.
Well, and also, you know, I've never said that Madi doesn't have a right to tell. Well, I hope I haven't said that. Right now, I think that Madi had the right to say, I can't move forward if you do this. That's totally fine. So I don't really agree with Barb that he can't tell someone else he can't be physical because she's pursuing a relationship with him too. He's not just pursuing or vice versa, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, you can't tell her that she can't tell him that.
She can, and it's his choice if he's like, no. And then he does it, which he did. And then it's her choice if she wants to stay or not. So
yeah. Now they're battling though. Now they're
in full battle.
She's like, my feelings are as valid as his. She also used the word standards again, which I was like, oh, you're going to trigger Barb even more.
You're going to get real mad. Woo. Oh my God. Yeah. Right. But also my expectations and feelings are valid just as his. I'm not going to apologize for the standards I have. I didn't tell him what to do. I just told him it was going to be hard for me to continue to work through this. Now, this is an interesting piece because this is the moment where Madison actually admits that she didn't actually tell him what to do, that it was just going to be hard for her. And I feel like in the Fantasy Suite episode, when they had the sit down conversation, she was making it very clear, at least she was saying it to him, that it was like, no, I told you I was going to leave. And so now we're having kind then wishy-washy thing.
I did feel like that was a switch in the way things were phrased.
The way it was phrased, for sure.
Yeah.
And then she says that like, yeah, this is going to be hard, blah, blah, blah. And then Barb, let me tell you, when you find that right person,
believe
it is
me.
worth fighting for.
That was like shade because she was like, oh, believe me, when you find the right person.
I could not believe, Bekah. I could not believe. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Well, If I was Madison, rewatching this has got to be the most painful thing ever. And then we see Madison really like, she's saying this was super hard, but it opened my eyes. And she's realizing, she's like, oh my God, we are so different. Going in tomorrow, I have to think about what's best.
Yeah. And also, look at these psychopaths I'm going to have to
also, I'm going to have to live with these people?
What? She's like, can you imagine wedding planning with this bitch? Can you imagine? I mean, I said weeks ago, I don't want her as a mother-in-law. I said that a very long time ago, and I stand by it.
No, I love watching Barb for the sake of television. I don't want her as my
mother or my mother-in-law.
I do not want her as my mother-in-law. I feel overwhelmed just with the idea while watching this.
Yes.
I feel stressed out already just thinking about the amount of pressure that I'd be under to take care of her BB boy.
But no, not a lot of boundaries when it comes to there's issues. Okay.
Well, so
his mom was like, she pulled a fucking wrong reasons. Like she was one of the contestants on the show with Peter.
She pulled a wrong reason. I mean, he sits down and she just starts bawling, just
sobbing into his arms,
embracing him. The sobbing is out of control.
Which, by the way, my mom made me rewind this like 3 times. She's like, watch her. Because
are you talking about the shift?
Oh, how she sits up and she goes, with the tears that aren't there, wipes them. Then she goes, she's not here for you, bud. She's not there for you, bud.
Wild. This was a soap opera if I have ever seen one. It was insane.
She's not there for you, bud.
And I'm like, oh, we're going to go there. And to that I say, Barb, you're wrong. Okay, don't throw out the wrong reasons.
I know.
Madison's there for him. She loves him. It's just not maybe a good fit because of lifestyle.
Oh no, but she is straight up saying wrong reasons.
And then she goes, I said a prayer last night.
Bud. She goes, she's not there for you, bud. But bud, I have to tell you something.
I said a prayer last night. I said, Lord, please guide Peter today and guide Madi to see. And I love, by the way, that she throws in, she's not throwing shade at Madi. She's like, I wanted Madi to be guided by the Lord as well.
Guide Madison to see the truth.
Guide Peter, guide Madi to see where they are in this, because you have a gem waiting for you.
Who is madly in love with you.
Head over heels. God has answered my prayers and put the right person in your path. But I think maybe you know that, bud.
Deep in your heart. No, she goes, and I think you know, deep in your heart, bud, you know that.
I mean,
the fact she goes,
the switch from I said a prayer that the Lord would guide you and Madison today because you have a gem waiting for you there, bud. I could not believe. I
love that she pulls like the God told me, like Hannah. God told me Hannah Ann's the one for you.
She's like, oh, Maddie.
You want to talk about God?
I'm about to level up your ass. I prayed last night. And guess what? You're sweet, but God sent us an angel on earth.
I was screeching in my home. We woke Ruth up multiple times because we were screaming. Me, my mom, and my sister dying laughing, rewinding this shit over and over again. Because she goes, oh my God. She literally goes, Madison is a nice girl, a sweet girl. Hannah Ann is an angel on earth.
Also, Barb had what, maybe 1 hour with each? And you gather that someone's an angel on earth? I mean, and then I love the throw it at the end. A mother's intuition is never wrong.
Just staring at the camera.
And I'm like, I gotta be honest with you. As a mother, my intuition's been wrong a lot. Love my mom. Her intuition's wrong about me all the time. Okay? So that's just not a true statement.
My mom's a terrible judge of character. I've brought some of the worst guys around. My mom's like, love him. Love that for you.
My mom is too. She just thinks everyone's great. And I'm always just like, Mom, okay, let's just pick up on the cues here, okay? Oh my God. I could not even handle it.
So the family's sitting then.
Yes.
She leaves.
She leaves. And he says, Peter's like, I'm crazy about Madi. And Jim is like, are you willing to risk something that is so perfect to hope that
is
something...
In your words, so perfect.
in order, or what is it?
For something you hope materializes.
Which, again, I mean,
fair.
It's a true fact, because Peter, in his own words, is like, Hannah Ann's perfect, Hannah Ann's perfect, Hannah Ann's perfect. And with Madi, it's like, I hope that I can hold to my promise and that this will work out.
And Peter goes, believe me, I'm even more on the Hannah Ann train than you all are. And I was like, the Hannah Ann train? This is getting really weird. this seems like a lot of self-awareness that you're on a show right now.
And Barb, I love. Oh, Barb is a master manipulator in this situation.
Yes.
It reminds me so much of last season with Hannah B. She's like, oh, I'm going to bring up Hannah B. I'm going to get Peter upset.
Jack goes, very good point.
Very good point. She's like, and also shade to Hannah B. She goes, when she went and picked the wrong person. Oh, shade to Hannah B. And now you have this perfect girl. Are you gonna? You gonna pull a Hannah B?
She goes, you gonna risk that, bud? Oh my god, this shit was
unbelievable.
The manipulation level was at a 10. I was living for it. You know why? Because it's entertaining as fuck.
Yes. Oh yeah. Was it manipulative? 100%.
Yeah, of course they've got. There's some mom. If mom ain't happy, nobody's happy. Some bullshit going on.
She's like, sir, you are living in my home. I do your laundry. I make you breakfast every morning. You better choose the girl that I like. I wash your
girlfriend's thongs if they accidentally leave in your sheets.
Sometimes your dad and I role play with them. What can I say?
Oh my god. So now he's straight up fighting with his family, and his mom's just pulling the tears. And I'm like, oh, now everything makes sense with Victoria. Everything. So many pieces of the puzzle got put together throughout these conversations.
And then Barb starts the bawling, and that's when when BarbraGate hits the fan.
Bring her home to us.
Hannah Ann loves you with all of her heart. Don't let her go. I mean,
never in my wildest dreams.
The level of passion that this woman has for someone she's known for a hot 45 minutes. If I could just get a little sliver of that passion, please, I could use it. Throw some of that passion in my coffee. We could run the world. I mean, she's literally willing to throw herself in front of a train for Hannah Ann.
She's pulling out all the stops, and Peter goes, you gotta stop.
His reaction was everything. She's literally screaming.
And this is where I was like, oh, this is a real fucking family here. Because he's like, Mom, stop.
And he's like, Mom, you do this. It's like, it was so like, Mom, you do this all the time.
You gotta
Every
stop.
single relationship I'm in, you do this. You gotta chill. Like you need. And then she just goes, I'm crying. but I'm just crying. And Peter's like, this is destroying me. Like this, he said, this is destroying me. This is insane right now. Like, this is insane. I'm so stressed out. This is crazy. And then Barb, well, but I have emotions, okay? She's like, don't you emotion shame me, Peter. I've taught you better than this.
I bet she loved Kelsey watching things back.
She loved Kelsey. She's like, I trust you. And then all of a sudden she goes, I love you so much. I trust you so much. Peter, please.
Oh, Peter, I didn't mean to push you in the opposite direction. If now you're not going to go after Hannah. Yeah. But then he goes, I'm the one who's got to spend the rest of my life with her.
I'm like, okay, Petey Pie. Petey Pie has some legs he's standing on right now.
Although I think he says at one point, I don't know if it's now or later, he goes, I'm the one who's got to spend the rest of my life with her and nobody else. And I'm like, well, you live with your parents.
So
I hate to bring this up, but
it is just like a roommate for them. So like they maybe, you know what, Peter,
they have a little more stake in this conversation.
You got 90% of the vote. They've got like 10 at least, right?
And they just pushed him in the opposite direction.
And rent in Los Angeles is a fortune. So like, you know, maybe they even get 20%. They're saving you a lot of money.
It's true. What's that mortgage like on that house? It looks pretty nice.
I know. Westlake, it's a nice area.
I don't know.
It's not cheap.
But they just pushed him in the opposite direction. Now he's like never been so dead set on Madi.
I was screaming. I was like, parents, don't do this. This clip should be shown as like a parenting seminar. Like, you do this and you will your kid will then choose, you know.
Oh, but it doesn't matter because she already pushed. She did exactly what she wanted to do. Check. And Madison is like, I've got the vibe.
Oh, yeah. No, she pushed Madi out hardcore. But I'm just thinking, again, all I could think about this entire time was just like, listen, how in the world, if let's just say Madi comes back and at the end of this, Madi and Peter are together. Barb has spent so much time now of her screen time.
Oh my God.
Hating on Madi and being so
I think she's that confident in her manipulation skills against her son, apparently.
But if those manipulation skills are not coming in clutch and Madi ends up being, wow, that's got to be so uncomfortable.
I was curious watching this. I was like, is Barb the type to just stand her ground and just be like...
I think that, let's just say Peter ends up with Madi and like they go out on stage tonight, and I bet Barb will be like, we've gotten to know Madi and we love her so much.
Yeah.
I think she'll do that because she doesn't want to lose her son. Her son's the most important thing to her, right?
Yeah,
so if it's going to be one of those things where like it's going to cause constant tension in the house, and he's going to... Because now... Barb's smart. She knows if she pushes her son too far away or Madi too far away, they're spending all their holidays at the Pruitts. She wants them to stay with her. So she's going to have to win Madi back if Peter and Madi end up together. Here we are. My God. After that insane 2 days or day or whatever it was, like Peter now has to jump into this date with Madi, and he is frustrated. I feel like he's
high off the adrenaline first of fighting his parents about her.
I feel like he has the craziest boner right now. He's just like, Madi and I are meant to be together forever. We're going to break through this. We're going to prove to our families and the entire world that we're meant to be together. And
it played into his narrative of love is worth fighting for.
Yes, he says this date is going to be so freaking cool.
Jess, if his parents just kind of rolled along with it and were like, she's nice, I think that he would come to the conclusion on his own that like their lifestyles weren't compatible for each other. Maybe.
I still think that he probably would choose her because it's more challenging.
Maybe.
But I think it'd be a tougher call for him.
But also if his parents were just like, she's fine. And they were like, we love Hannah Ann, but they didn't push anything.
Yeah.
It might have swung him.
If Barb wouldn't have barbed, it would have been okay.
Yep. I don't know. Who knows? But
well, him and Madi go on this helicopter date. He is just his adrenaline is coursing through his veins. He's like literally yelling and spitting facts about The Rock. Like he knows so much about this. He really, and Maddie's sitting there and you see her getting emotional. Yeah. Her eyes are getting teary because she isn't fully present. My heart, I really, really fucking felt for her during this part. You see her just like warring. And I feel like she knows what she needs to do. And especially after the date yesterday or the time yesterday.
I wasn't actually convinced she was going to leave right then. To be honest, I think my intuition is a little off, but like her saying it's time to surrender. I thought she was more surrendering to her relationship with Peter.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
I see that. As soon as she said it's time to surrender, I was like, oh, she's ending this shit.
So, I mean, I still thought that she was leaving right before when Chris Harrison says there's something you need to know.
Oh, okay.
I still thought that's what was happening. I thought she was going to go through the date and then leave.
I'll be real with you. At this point, I had blacked out about Chris ever saying that because I was so taken by all the drama. I'm forgetting all these other pieces because I'm just like, what's going to happen next? I'm on the edge of my seat at this point. I'm living for it. That's when Peter announces that he has some sparkling apple juice for his lady. And that's when I'm like, okay, she doesn't drink. And this then adds up to me too about his family saying over and over again to her on their time yesterday, he likes to party. He likes to party because he probably mentioned, yeah, she's different than me. She doesn't really party. She doesn't. I bet we didn't see that. And he said that because they weren't even talking about the sex piece. They were talking a lot about his lifestyle of partying.
I'm sure he said that she doesn't drink.
Yeah. So they're probably like, well, who are we supposed to do shots with? Yeah.
What about Jell-O shots on Mother's Day? What?
Your girlfriends always take them off of me. It's one of our fun little traditions. Come on.
It would be a fun family to party with.
Oh, I want to party with the Webbers so hard. I just don't.
You know, I mean, in some ways, it'd be a great mother-in-law because she'd be like, yeah, we'll take the kids, go out for a weekend, have some fun, you two. That's true. Right? You got to look at it that way.
A babysitter? I take it all back. I'll deal with it all. I'll move in with them today.
Can you imagine? You two go have some alone time.
Oh, the prices for flying right now are lower. Go ahead. Go to Hawaii for the week. Enjoy. If you get quarantined for 14 days, you get quarantined for 14 days. We got Ember. It's no big deal. You guys enjoy. I take it all back. I choose Barbara. Every day I choose Barbara. I'm going to fight for our love.
So they're sitting in the picnic.
Yeah. And it all comes crumbling down.
She says, sometimes I think being a warrior and a fighter is about surrender. I'm willing to walk away so you can get what you came here to find.
And then when she says the saying that love can conquer all, but I think when you want something so badly, you can't see clearly. And I was like, girl, that's some wisdom. Right
she
there.
also said, I don't want us to work into overtime to love each other. And I'm like, finally, someone's saying it.
We got the logic going.
God.
But that was such a good way to put it, that you say love can conquer all, but it does blind you sometimes. Like it really does. And sometimes that intense attraction and your chemistry can really fuzz out what the day-to-day life will look like.
She also said, I got more of a sight into life outside of this and how different we are.
Yes, because of your family.
I was like, all very fair. All very fair. Yeah. And also that, I mean, they're going to play into it. Be like, bro, your family fucking hates me, so I'm going to see myself out the door. They made it clear I was very unwelcome in their family.
Yeah, she said, we see things so differently. We expect such different things. It's all very true. And then Peter's thrown off because he's like, you told me yesterday that you love me and you can see me proposing, which I understood on Peter's part. He's feeling thrown off because he's now getting this different thing. He's like, when you walk into a family and they don't like you, you're like, well, fuck, I gotta go. But when you're the person who's used to your family, Peter's probably thinking, my mom does this. All this is doing is lighting my fire for our passion. We got this, girl. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and he didn't really see into their side of her interactions with the family either.
Exactly.
Well, and then he says this really bothered me. He said, I was willing to do anything it takes to make this work. And I'm like, bro, she told you what she wanted, like, and you didn't do it.
And you did it. And the thing is, at the end of the day, like, again, we could say this 1,000 times, there was wrong on both end, but what Peter does have to own is that he did technically make that choice.
He made the choice that could have ended the relationship.
When he knew, and again, if like you play into it like a Nick Viall standpoint, like he was like, I know Vanessa's my girl, so I'm not going to sleep with anyone else. If Vanessa probably would have told Nick, I don't want you to sleep with anyone else, it'll make me feel uncomfortable, Nick probably wouldn't have. She said that to Peter. Peter didn't seem clear enough in his decision at that point.
And
again, he said, I'm in love with all three.
Yep.
So you're not willing to do anything for her.
Yeah. I was like, well, yeah. Anyway.
If I were in her shoes after he said that, I probably would have looked at him and been like, okay, then leave Hannah Ann right now. Let's walk. I probably would have threatened that shit because I know myself and I can get wild.
I think that there's a part of her that does still want him. And I think a part of her knows, and I'm not saying that her leaving was manipulative, but I think there's a part of her that knows too, like, if he really wants me, he'll come after me.
Well, exactly. It's the saying too, like, if it's meant to be, it'll be, right? So there's probably that piece of like, you know,
if he wants me, he'll fight. But
I would have, if he would have said that comment to me, I would have thrown that shit out so hard. I would have been like, okay, fine. Then let's just end the process right now if you're so confident.
Except I think at this point she's really doubting. I think she's like, even if he was to do that, I think she's like, she says we're not the best for each other.
No, and she's right. She's right.
She leaves.
And she's right.
So she leaves. She just feels like it's the right thing to do. He chats with Chris Harrison. Mm-hmm. He says, I'm mourning my relationship with Madi, but I also know I'm in love with Hannah Ann. Can you get over this heartbreak? The second I fell in love with people, I knew how it could end.
Yeah,
yada, yada.
It's rough. Peter looked like he had 17 tequilas that night and gotten like hit by a car. Like he was
bags under his eyes. And you know what?
And there's a camera in his room when he's waking up. And I'm like, just let the guy sleep for a second. Give him a little bit of space.
And you know, I don't even remember who I was talking to about this. Somebody who was the Bachelor or Bachelorette, but they said, you know, the show no one can prepare you for how it feels. Because I think that some people are going to say with this date with Hannah Ann, like, oh, it's obvious he's just not that into Hannah Ann. But someone told me, I don't remember who, they're like, they don't tell you how to mourn the loss of someone you were in love with while at the same time celebrating moving forward with this new relationship. And that's not really something that ever comes up in real life. And there's no guidelines for how to do that. Yeah, so sometimes it's not even that you're not that stoked on that other person. It's like, I don't know how to cope with this grieving process.
Right. How often in real life do you go through this?
Right. Yeah. I need to grieve and also celebrate this at the same time. And like, that's really hard for the heart to do. Mm-hmm. So I want to put that into context going into this with Hannah, because I feel like people are going to be like, oh, he's just not as into Hannah Ann. You can see it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, he's grieving. And he also is in love with her too.
Yeah, and it seems that way. And again, though, you know, he likes the challenge, so that's maybe he feels more passionate towards Madi in this moment.
I did feel bad because when Hannah Ann and his date starts, it's like she has no idea what's going on. That's what I wrote.
I said, poor thing has no idea. Like
she's
has
running to him. And by the way, all happy and stoked.
And he never tells her. which is a weird move to me.
I agree.
That bothered me. I felt like...
Well, I think that maybe he didn't want to make her feel like she was then just his other option.
But then that's also not really being honest, because it's kind of like, I feel like he should have gone to the date and been like, listen, here's the thing.
I'm having a really rough day.
I'm having a really rough day. Maddie did leave yesterday. I want to have this date with you. I want to continue. And, you know, and he should have been honest. At this point, I don't really know who I...
Or he should have just said, like, I don't, like, if we end this together, I don't want you to think that it's because you're my only option left. Like, I want to go through this day, and I want...
And I need time. And if I'm being honest with you, Hannah Ann, I personally, Maddie left, and I didn't know between you and her who I was going to choose. So I still need a little bit of time, but I want to spend this time with you. You know, whatever. The fact that he literally goes through the whole date, doesn't tell her this. She's opening up to him, pouring out her heart. In the back of his brain, he's like, well, Maddie's gone. It just was really weird.
Yeah. So... I definitely thought that the guy driving up was Chris Harrison with Maddie in the back. I was like, what the fuck's about to go down? And I was still very suspicious when he came out with his Australian accent. They're going to literally have them
fight for his love.
Like, what is going on? Well, no, they just take them to some baby kangaroos, which are everything he needed in that moment. I have to say that was...
Oh my gosh.
That shit was so precious.
I said all of Peter's sadness is healed. Like, are you kidding me?
I'm not one of those baby animal people, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. Are these little babies getting bottle fed? I was weeping out of pure love.
I was like, they remind me of Ruth. Like, they were so cute.
It was unbelievable. Hannah Ann is like, this is the best Insta opportunity that I can think of this entire season.
Somebody please grab the camera.
This is incredible. And
so once again, as their date's going on, he says the most perfect woman is in front of me.
Mm-hmm. He thanks Hannah Ann, and this is so funny because it was so thick with like what just happened with him and Maddie. He thanks Hannah Ann for always being there for him and not wavering. He says he's felt no pressure from her, but always felt her there. And I'm like, and wow, I wonder who you're referring to.
Well, and they're sitting on a picnic blanket. Like it was like they were really directly contrasting this experience. And she's saying, you know, you have enough pressure on you as it is. And I'm like, oh my God, she doesn't even know what's going on.
No idea.
Like this conversation could not be more parallel.
But she says that when she's looking into his eyes, she can tell that something is off because she's our intuitive queen.
Also, though, it doesn't take a rock. I was realizing as we're recapping this part, it doesn't take a rocket scientist with the look on his face when she was running up to him that something was. Yeah, his vibe was bad.
This is what I couldn't tell though either, because I felt editing intentionally made this really awkward because there was zero music. Normally, when they run up to each other, they had them run up from that long distance, zero music, and then the guy pulls up on the gravel road, comes out. They're like, "Hello." Still no music.
They come into the baby kangaroo room, no music. I noticed that as well.
I felt like they were really pushing the uncomfortableness.
This thick tension.
Yeah. So I was like, are you manipulating our emotions, editors? I don't know. I couldn't quite tell. And yeah, she was like, there's something in his eyes. I'm like, yeah, that's because he's dead inside now, Hannah, because ABC has beaten the life out of him and Maddie's gone. And Barb screamed at him for like an hour. And his scar hurts. That's why.
Well, they go into the night date.
And
she's got her little brown curly hair and her tight little orange dress. I mean, oh God.
I was like, oh my God. She's lighting candles. She's thinking she's about to rock his world again. And I'm like, us poor women, this woman is in a bodycon dress looking the hottest she's ever looked. And Peter shows up in a t-shirt and a sweater. I was like, try harder, Peter.
With that sad ass look on his face.
He's given up. He's got like that little sad potato. That's what he looks like to me, a little sad potato. And Peter says it's bittersweet for him. And this is when I thought he was going to tell her about Maddie.
Yeah.
I was like, it's coming. He's going to be honest. Still doesn't. But Hannah Ann's feisty that night. She's not having it. She's like...
Well, because he starts it out with, you've been that rock for me every step of the way. And then she goes, this love for you is truly different. I'm speaking from my heart. And then she's like, I would never want you to do anything for me out of anything other than loving me for who I am. And I'm like, oh shit. How does she know what's happening?
She always knows. Finger on the temple. That's so Raven moment. She saw it. She saw Maddie left.
I don't know.
but she knows. And it's almost like she knew, she had her psychic moment, and she was telling Peter, end this right now and let's work this out in the real world. Don't propose to me. It was almost like, let's just have a Colton Cassie moment where we leave together and we figure it out after the final rose.
Yeah, and he still doesn't make it clear what's going on. He just says, my heart's being pulled in 2 different directions.
Yes, and he doesn't say that one is in Australia and one is all the way back home
to Alabama.
Yeah.
And then this is when she pulls the line, I've given and I want something in return. And I'm like, yeah, if you want to talk about like, I've never asked anything of you, Hannah Ann has been like, do whatever you need to do.
Yes.
And now she's just saying, but just love me for who I am and choose me because you love me.
Yeah. And she's done. She is at her breaking point, which is giving me the energy that what Chris comes in.
She leaves.
I think they both bounce. And Peter is left alone with his family.
I really didn't see it playing out like this. Like I didn't see that. 1, his mom was talking about Hannah Ann, but 2, that Chris is probably talking about Hannah Ann leaving as well.
It was always all about Hannah Ann,
which is kind of crazy because I think he was about to propose to Hannah Ann. Which props to her for leaving if that is what's going to happen.
I think he was about to propose to her too. I mean, he's in his little
which could have played out for with one of 2 outcomes. 1, they either slowly work things out and they're happier than ever 4 months later, or he can't get Madi out of his fucking head.
Okay, so I think prediction for tonight: Hannah Ann leaves. That's what Chris Harrison is telling him.
Yep.
I think the visuals of Madi in the car are after all of this is done. And I think Peter leaves without either of them. And now, after the final rose, him and Madi have been talking and he's going to want to get with her. And we're going to see live if she will do it. And I think she's going to say no.
No!
I think so. That's just my guess. Or even, let's just say, even Peter and Madi have been casually dating.
Yeah.
Or even seriously dating.
Yeah.
Since her watching this over again with her family, I can't see it. I can't see her being like, yes, let's continue a serious relationship.
Holy shit. Do you really think so?
Also, Peter's
holy fuck.
Also, let's be real, guys. Madi's seeing Peter in his Insta stories with Kylie Jenner. You think Maddie's down?
Or let's talk about
who would be down. If the guy who's trying to woo me back is hanging out with the hottest women in the entire world, I'd be like, you better be kissing my ass. Oh no,
Jess, let's talk about when he posted and then deleted the story of. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Peter posted on his Instagram story briefly. Mm-hmm. Remember how they didn't show the morning after him and Hannah Ann's overnights? He posted on his story a photo of them in bed together in the morning, just sort of being like, I guess the point was like, oh, we did actually have a morning together. Here's what happened. If he's trying to get Madison back.
Can you imagine? It'd be game over. Oh. What about this?
What?
He's still dating both of them. Casually.
Holy fucking, he's going to make a decision and they have to say yes or no?
Because think about this. Remember how they had the weird thing where you saw that he follows and like sent Hannah Ann something on Venmo, and then he sent...
No, apparently like all those accounts are fake. Oh. People looked into them and like all that shit's fake.
Because I'm like, if they're both real, maybe he's going and visiting both of them. He's still dating both of them. And Peter ended up getting what he wanted. He had an extended Bachelor experience. And he gets to choose. By the way, if that's the case, I'm going to be so angry. I will be so mad if they both show up on the stage tonight and he chooses them. I'll be like, girls, you are worth more. You just go. This is insane.
No, there's no way. I think it's going to be the first thing. I think it's going to be Matt. I don't see her saying no, though.
Who?
I think she's going to... Madison. I think
Madi?
What's going to play out is the first thing that you said.
Okay.
And he is going to be like, will you continue to pursue a relationship with me? And I think she's going to say yes.
I think she's going to pull... remember, was it Katie, Morton, and Chris during Bachelor when Chris was like, are you still together? God. And she was like, we're working things out. I don't think Maddie's going to be like, I break up with you on stage, but I think it's going to kind of be like,
it's just going to fizzle out.
I think she's going to say, we have some things to work through, and it'll end like that. And like it'll
like he doesn't even know how.
It'll end like him like Chris Harrison being like, well, you know, we hope that along your guys' we can be we're there with you guys as your journey continues to find love together, and then that like nothing is going to come of it. I don't think she's literally going to go, I'm ending things with you on a live stage. No. But I think she's going to say, we have stuff to work out.
If it did go that way, it could go that way if she's going to have like a speech moment where she's just like, I poured my heart out to you and like blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. Because I could kind of see a small percentage chance that happened too.
This is wild.
Or she's like, what you and your family put me through. Like, well, I don't think that would happen.
Or Hannah Ann leaves and Peter realizes that he loves Hannah Ann and they're together.
I don't think so. I think the fight is too strong. And I think, yeah.
And I also don't feel like Hannah Ann's the type to like, even though she's like, do whatever you need to do, I don't get the vibe from her that she's going to just hang in there.
Right.
She's like, nah, I'm moving to California. I'm getting hit up a lot in the DMs. Like,
she's going to go on Paradise.
I'm going to go on Paradise.
Do you think there's a part of Madi that thought maybe she would be the Bachelorette when she left? I'm not saying that was like her reason behind leaving, but do you think that she thought that was a possibility when she dipped?
Maybe.
That came to mind too. I was like, wow, this is a really good setup for the Bachelorette. It's the same thing for me
that maybe Hannah Ann feels. Maybe that's what she's thinking in the back of her head, where she's just like, I'm showing Peter that I'm down for anything. But all I know is that it's crazy to me that whatever happens, that neither of them are the Bachelorette. That's surprising to me.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that he hasn't chosen.
Yeah.
Because you'd think that like ABC, let's just say,
I think,
what if he breaks Maddie's heart? Or sorry, he breaks Hannah Ann's heart in a million pieces. He ends up chasing after Maddie.
I don't think that the ABC wants to make Hannah Ann the Bachelorette.
Really?
Because she's young, and I don't think they want to continue it on, which is why they chose someone like Claire. Yeah.
Anywho, wow.
Can't wait to talk about this.
Cannot wait. So excited. Honestly, I'm tingling. And remember, our recap for tonight's episode will be up Thursday morning. Sorry for the delay, but we have to record it on Wednesday, and it will be out first thing Thursday morning. Mm-hmm. So excited. Mm-hmm. Also, just want to give ABC a special shout out. This season of The Bachelor has really taken up all of my life, and my entire phone is just full of Bachelor memes, and that's what all my feed is on Instagram. And I didn't realize literally until last night when the Bachelor stuff started to phase out, that I hadn't even really gone into the whole coronavirus panic, because The Bachelor has been taking over my vibe. So now the coronavirus, I have radical anxiety.
Don't worry, Love is Blind. We're going to be recapping that.
Hey, something else to distract me. Thanks, guys.
All right. Tune in Thursday, broads.
We love you, broads.
Chat soon.
Chat soon.